And according to Wikipedia, it was initially a neutral term, just like all of our best words.
Yeah, it's like black. It's it was a descriptor up until it wasn't a descriptor anymore.
It's neutral now. At some point, black might become a derogatory term
that
as well.
That could be an interesting scholarly endeavor to go back and figure out if you were to pin that on one racial group, was that more white guys' fault for making that a bad word, or was it more the reaction that black people took towards it that made it a bad word? My original inclination would be that the use of it during the transatlantic slave trade might indicate it was the fault of the white man's there.
There we go.
Well, you know who's to really blame here. It's definitely them. And we all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, how are we going to blame them for this Ukrainian girl going down?
Well, the president is one of them. And if he wasn't out there perpetuating the, the agenda of them, then she wouldn't have had to flee a war-torn country. That's how.
Oh, that president. I was like, what is he? Did something come out about Donald this weekend I missed? Is he not my president anymore?
Something did come out, but it was kind of meaningless. But for those of y'all who are somehow living under a rock or just unaware, last week in Charlotte, North Carolina, a Ukrainian refugee was stabbed on the train by a black guy, and there's a whole video of it. It's not a great video if you want to watch it. I would recommend just don't. But she was stabbed in the neck. She died in about a minute or two, but she passed out within 30 seconds. There's probably no way she could have been helped. And the big story is that this guy has been arrested 14 times prior to this. Charges have been dropped multiple times. At least 6 of his previous arrests were felony arrests. And everyone's asking the same question, which is, 1, how do we stop this? And 2, why
what
was
she
he...
say to him? Oh, sorry.
What did she say?
Different question. Sorry.
Did she hard R? I don't know. I feel like this is like selective imaging.
How much would that change? Yeah, if we got the audio like a week after we all have this week to boil over and get angry about it, then you get the audio and she's just like under her breath, constant in words, back to back to back, just trying as hard as she can to get stabbed.
It would probably make this whole thing better, but we do actually have the audio, and the audio just makes it even worse. Afterwards, he was fairly excited that he had stabbed her and was talking about it quite a bit. So in not great ways.
Is there any truth to because I've heard this floating around that he apparently called 911 on himself earlier because he was having some sort of like psychotic break and they just didn't respond. Have you heard that before?
I did hear something along those lines, but I never looked too much into it, so I have no idea.
Fair enough.
But it's certainly possible it's true.
What's that guy's name? Let me see if I can find it.
DeCarlos Brown, which is a very interesting name to give a black guy.
I was about to say, they gave him... It sounds like a bad caricature name for a brown person.
Yeah.
It's like one of those, you need to go back to the ad-lib machine to write your Hispanic character. That was a little too
honestly, yeah, it kind of is. It's of Carlos the Brown.
Of Carlos the Brown.
Why do you guys think it took so long for this to actually start getting coverage? Because this happened a week ago, right? Because I know that there was almost no mention of this in any mainstream. I mean, all of the articles I see are like of today. So why do you think they sat on this for a week?
They probably just didn't want to cover it, but it's just been constantly circling around Twitter and everywhere else for the last week. And I think at some point they figured they had to try and get behind it, or at least ahead of it from their terms. But the mainstream's just slow.
That's kind of what my gist was too. It's just it's not their favorite flavor of news story. And it caught too much traction for them to ignore at some point. I wonder if that's not... he's getting federally charged for this as well, from what you were saying earlier, because they're worried the state's not going to follow through because, 14 convictions and still on the street kind of thing. But maybe it's the same thing there. Maybe it's just like, okay, we're reaching a boiling point. we're watching a lot of our Caucasian whites over here screaming about this girl in Scotland with an axe and a machete, and talking about how you guys need to take your country back, and then maybe we shouldn't let this slide under while we have all these angry whites on our hands currently.
It could be. Watching the federal government has been really interesting for me lately, because it'll be like something becomes a big issue on Twitter, and then within like 2 days, the federal government's doing something about it. But if it doesn't become a big issue on Twitter, it really doesn't. And it's kind of fun. It feels like the government is occupied by people who just live on Twitter 24/7, probably have anonymous accounts where they're posting, 1350 memes and all sorts of stuff.
It's
and
Barron, just like the representative of the internet to his dad, and every day, like with the CIA presidential briefing, he gets the Twitter sphere briefing from Barron.
I wouldn't be shocked. Because like a couple days ago, someone posted this deep dive about how one random Biden executive order that had been removed spawned a piece of legislation, and the legislation was still active. 2 days after the thread gets semi-viral with maybe 200,000 views, the White House is out there like, hey, we're gonna remove this legislation. It was never removed. And it's like, are Twitter threads this effective? It feels like it's the place to be. It's part of why I don't want to post on Instagram as well. I might get seen by the vice president. You know what I mean? They're not trolling Instagram for breaking news at all.
Right.
That is interesting. I wonder if that's you could find your glass half full perspective on that hey, you wanted to elect this populist president. Now you got a guy that you can make enough of a shitstorm on Twitter and get him to change national policy.
Yeah. Or get them to federally prosecute what was a murder in North Carolina just from going viral on Twitter. And it's kind of a wild way to prosecute. I was just taking a peek at it, and they're using some sort of legislation that came through in a terrorist act from 15 years ago. Essentially, if you commit murder on mass transit, you can sometimes fall under federal jurisdiction, and they're using that to charge him federally. So it's possible he might get charged in 2 places if the state decides to levy charges against him. And if the state doesn't, which would be weird if they didn't at this point because it's such a shitstorm. But if the state doesn't, he'll at least get federal charges and be locked up for life federally. But it is interesting, and it does make you wonder if this sort of precedent might get used more often. I personally like seeing the federal government only because it's in favor of what I want. I like seeing them more active in local politics than previously.
That's always that difficult double-edged sword there of do you cheer on the government when they're doing some overstep in the right direction in your estimation?
Yeah, because if it's the FEMA camp discussion from 2014, which FEMA zone?
Oh my god, I forgot about those.
Obviously, I don't want the federal government involved locally at all. But if they're just prosecuting people who are stabbing women on the train, I'm perfectly happy with that.
I think that's a reasonable. I think that the mental gymnastics that you would have to go through to imagine that, one day I don't want the government. It's I think that we could all generally agree that women just getting stabbed on trains, I think that's always going to be something I would be okay with the state stepping in and dealing with. I have a hard time imagining a world where I'm maybe that's not the job for the feds, and we should just leave this up to the state prosecutors.
Right? What if I'm the one doing the stabbing?
Right.
No,
for sure. Right. It's those are those, I don't know, not even 80-20 issues. This is a 99-1 issue where I think you'd be really hard pressed to find somebody that it would be, I don't know, on the opposite side of this.
You might be surprised. There's some pushback on the internet. It mostly comes from a place of racial in-group thinking. It seems it's kind of the O.J. Simpson's innocent thing.
The system failed him, and he
less
the criminal justice system needs to be overhauled because the recidivism rate is so high. It's actually we should probably just stop letting him have jail, and that solves that.
Right. I just had that. I know I sent Skorga more in that text thread earlier, but I was talking to a boomer about that earlier, and he was kind of arriving at the same idea, he was doing New Australia. He, in classic boomer fashion, every time I said, oh, you mean in Australia? He goes, no, an island where we put bad people so they can't be in the general public. And I'm yeah, it's
Australia.
He wouldn't listen to a word I said about it, but he was coming to that exact same conclusion of Yeah, there is a point where it's like some of these people just shouldn't be a part of society anymore.
Or New Orleans, one of the two. That's where the French sent all their prisoners.
That was different.
Did they
That was
really?
That's how they populated New Orleans. You could.
They weren't exactly prisoners.
Get out, you could get out of jail. So you could your sentence could be commuted, and you could get out of jail if you would marry a prostitute and go to New Orleans. And
have to? You mean get to? I'm getting out tomorrow, and I get to take a whore with me to the New World. Yeah,
let's go.
Prostitutes had also been like arrested, and they were trying to figure out a place to put them.
Yeah, probably.
So.
They're just rounding
them out of the street.
They're just rounding up women in the street. Be like, you're gonna marry this criminal and go to New Orleans.
Yeah, there's a hotel around the corner. Jump in the back of the cab, lady. Take her straight to the
that's
boat.
wild.
Yeah, but it actually explains so much of that city. If you've ever been, like that city makes so much more sense. And you're like, oh yeah, it was just colonized by a bunch of degenerate French people.
And why it's such a starch different from the rest of the United States now, where you have all of these like underlying Protestant, Quaker, super pent up religious views that are still eked in, and then New Orleans of all places.
It's just right. Hey.
Well, it's an interesting idea because obviously, if we were to send all of our criminals to an island, I think it would be fairly awful.
Just send them to Haiti.
Yeah, then you solve the like food shortage problem too.
Sure. Yeah, we'll just send some fresh meat down there. But it is interesting too, because when you ask like what sort of prisoners get sent, I don't know anything about the French one, but I do know about the English to Australia. You would assume like these would all be like just awful criminals, but it was like white collar crime because literally everybody else in England was executed.
Wow.
If you were like an arsonist, you were executed. If you stole things, you were executed. If you stole a horse, if you murdered anyone, if you hurt anyone. So like Australia, like, oh, it's a prison colony. It's like, yeah, these were people who like bribed a gatehouse when they were trying to avoid paying a toll or something. It's
whatever they're
minor
like like the English equivalent of the Wolf of Wall Street, like high crimes against the crown for tax evasion and stuff.
Yep.
It's almost like the exact opposite island too, climactically.
In some ways.
Like a death desert. I guess there is one nice part of Australia where they all stay at still today, but
yeah, the south side of Australia is very, very British-like. It's cold and gray and rainy, just nonstop.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that about Australia. I guess I had the view of Australia as all like Sydney and then one large beach and or desert outside of that.
Yeah, because like the north sides, it's like a perfect beach, and even like the middle of the continent on the coast, it's a perfect beach. But like Tasmania and New South Wales, it's basically Scotland. It's just awful, absolutely awful. Like highs of 58 degrees.
It's just awful.
Rain.
So you say awful. That, genetically speaking, is probably where I should be living, is a place like that. And it is typically where I'm most comfortable. Like I'm the only person who's not bummed out when it's overcast and like barely raining all day. It's my favorite weather.
Oh, so this fall is probably your perfect fall then, because it's just going to be so cool. It's going to be the whole time, man. It's my biggest conviction right now. You'd think it'd be something financial or whatever, but nah, it's just we're going to have a cool fall and a cool winter. I believe it. People keep saying it's a false fall, and I'm like, no, it's here to stay, 100%.
I hope you're right.
I buy that. I mean, I know that there's a little bit of elevation difference, but it's been cold. Like we've been getting close to freezing temps up here at night already. It's like 37, 36 at night. It's 60 something in the day. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not much warmer here, dude. It was like 75 today or something. So real question though, if we do get back on topic,
sure.
And I don't mean this as in like an accusatory sense or anything, but how does a libertarian deal with like constant repeat violent crime? And not assuming that y'all have libertarian solutions for this or anything like that, but I think it's like the big blind spot in the Libertarian Party.
That's a fair question. I mean, I've come around to we did an entire episode back in the day on the Scorgamore thing of like just fucking brand these people, and that way you're not spending state money on it. Like we have this obviously tremendously broken system that leads to almost zero rehabilitation. So in lieu of that, unless you're going to have a gigantic state apparatus overturn in order to make a system that is capable of turning around the lives of all these citizens, which I am just highly skeptical of as a libertarian, then the other option is like, well, what if we looked at a world where there weren't prisons? How do you go about that? It's like each community decides who the piece of shit is, and when you rape some woman, you get a giant R tattooed on your forehead so that everybody knows, hey, don't fucking leave this guy alone with anybody.
And we take their dicks.
Don't sell him bread. That's a great one too.
I enjoyed that Borgamore episode. You know, it's quite fun to think about, especially the idea that like if you kill someone who has like the tattoo or whatever, it's zero punishment. It's like, yeah, whatever. You can do whatever you want to them.
We didn't like him anyways.
It's like cleaning up the street, you know?
Well, Matt, what about you? Do you have an answer? And you don't have to have an answer either.
Well,
it's just...
I mean, I guess like if to keep in the perfect like libertarian theory, it's a tough one. I've come around to the conclusion that like I've been a minarchist, quote unquote, for quite some time, and I feel like that is something that you would want if you're going to have a state for any sort of functioning society. Because I feel like Ancapistan, the hellhole that Ancapistan would be, it's it would just be a different type of hellscape with a different flavor. But
it is tough sometimes to argue for Ancapistan and not fall into the trap of like, yeah, if everybody looks like me and thinks like me, it'll be perfect.
Right, for sure. That is the big folly of the ideology. But we did an episode on the deinstitutionalization of America and like Ronald Reagan coming in and cutting out all of the funding for these state hospitals, and I feel like that's probably something that should be looked at again, because a lot of these people, some people are just criminals and they're going to behave like criminals and we should treat them like criminals and actually not let them out of jail. But a lot of these people have psychotic issues, and the criminal justice system is never going to be able to address it, right? Like some people just need to be put in a soft room with a low dose of lithium. And I know that we get these old, like the horror images of the 1940s of the mental asylums where they're chained up to the radiators, covered in their own filth, right? Like that's always a possibility, but I think we should really look back into reinvesting in state hospitals where you can take people, and this guy might not fall into it. I was doing as a quick little read that said he did have schizophrenia. He was involuntarily committed once upon a time. His mom even said, like, I don't know why the courts ever let him out. Right? Like someone like that, maybe jail is a good place. But there's a lot of people that do end up committing crimes that if there was a place for them out of society, but could be taken care of to a moderate degree of quality of life, then I feel like that's probably a good use of public funds. Because if it, like, you could take people that want to just do drugs on the sidewalk, right? Because like a lot of people, homeless people, there's actually really, I'll find the link and I'll text it to you guys. There's this guy that did a 30-minute little YouTube documentary about Albuquerque's war zone, and almost everybody in that documentary didn't want the help. Like Albuquerque has a lot of resources. New Mexico is, they have a lot of public assistance if you want it. But all of these people are like, no, we'd rather just stay on the streets and do drugs. Cool. Well, then there's a place for you, and it's in the state hospital. And then you start to solve a lot of societal issues because of that. So that's kind of my leaning, is that we should really look back into, some people just aren't cut out for society. And I'm not saying that we should kill them or cull them or send them to camps, but we'll call them state hospitals.
I mean, I was going to say, what's the difference on some level? Because I've had a thought too of like, how do you really solve the homeless problem? And a lot of times it comes down to that there is no level of help that you can offer to a person who's just, and maybe not even super consciously, but because of their addiction and their mental illness, and maybe especially addiction, they're just in this loop where they're not going to go into a situation that would remove them from their access to
right, because you can't have drugs in those houses. You have to give it up and put so get high.
On the low end, is it just like a dog pound that's been converted? And you just kind of grab them with those extended leash things and just take them out of drugs until they're done
No,
with
because you
withdrawals
definitely
and be
don't want
like,
to
all right.
touch them.
Yeah, that's why you
To be
get
fair, I mean,
that pole thing that has the retracting leash on the end.
absolutely, yeah, you don't want to get that close to them. But also, I do wonder though, because this is where the uncomfortable part of this conversation comes up, and where everybody, like society, gets squeamish about finding solutions for it, because it is going to, I think if you actually wanted to try to solve some of these issues, that you're going to have to start forcibly moving people, and it's going to get pretty ugly in the short term. In the long term, I think that it's, you have a much better society, you have much better cities, you have places where the 99% of the population can feel safe and can flourish, and at least not worry about stepping. I saw the most fucked up thing the other day, where at the state fair, like, people were putting needles on the seats of porta potties, and there was a warning because like people were getting stabbed by needles, and it's just like people like that don't. And this is the thing, like, arguing for those people to just like run loose in society is insanity to me. They look at me like I'm the bad guy because I want to round them up and put them in a state hospital, and all. But the people are out there doing that, and I feel like that if you were,
was there a means to an end for that? What is the point of putting needles?
I think it was just to be a nuisance, just to
be a dickhead.
Yeah, just to be an asshole.
Hey.
And have now people have to get down. You have to go to the hospital and get tested. Like, did I just get infected?
Yeah, if you sit on
a
needle on a porta potty, that's your whole day's over at that point.
Oh yeah,
you gotta leave that festival right now
for sure. And it's like, so people like that type of behavior.
Hey, Matt, I said on something. Can you suck the venom out for me?
Yeah, come here, baby. I got you.
Well, in that case, I've got a semi-related question for y'all. Then, if we think about prisons as a whole and what their purpose is, what would you say is the main the main purpose of a prison, just among these three things? We have rehabilitation, separation from society, or
demoralize the African American community.
Oh no, they're taking our prisoners. The criminals.
What's the third one?
So, of all the purposes of a prison, what do you think the primary
rehabilitation?
One is? You have rehabilitation, you have punitive, or you have removal from society.
Probably punitive.
I think that honestly. I guess it's like, are we talking about what the American prison system is, or what you think it should be? I think it should be all three. In like,
you can't say that. Get the fuck off of your little fucking fence. You got to pick one to be your primary favorite. I'm just curious what your preferred.
Okay, no, fair enough. Then a separation from society.
Okay. If you want to expand on it, you can. If not, I'll.
Yeah, it's I mean, like, if you can reform, if reformation and punishment or deterrence is a byproduct of the separation of society, then that's great. And I think that you could tailor the system in a way that you could try to at least go to those means. But yeah, in like at the base level, prisons should be a separation of society. Like, you have shown that you can't play nice by the rules that we've established, and good luck.
Okay, Logan.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think your pie in the sky idealist view of it would be rehabilitation of people for an ultimately better society. But that's a tall order right there, Yeah, it's difficult to turn somebody back into a viable citizen. So your first and foremost is to remove unhealthy elements of your environment, dangerous elements of your environment.
And I think that if you sorry, I lost my train of thought. I had something and then
totally fair.
So what's your thought, Kiefer?
So the reason I asked these three, and you're going to get a really long answer, I apologize.
Perfect.
I was looking into it earlier today, just out of curiosity, where the idea for prison as a rehabilitation center came from. And I was shocked to learn it's barely even like 100-year-old idea. Prior to that, like, the whole purpose of prison was just removing people from society. And I guess at some point in the late 1800s, early 1900s, people thought that it was like a little mean, and we're trying to see if like people could be reformed by different methods. And in the U.S., the push for prison rehabilitation existed for maybe 50 years until the 1970s, when we just kind of like threw our hands up and we're like, okay, three strikes law, this is not working. But it was interesting to see because apparently the rehabilitation prisons never really seemed to work very well for the broad majority of prisoners. Something like 20% of prisoners end up being rehabilitated. Like y'all have said, recidivism is a big issue because for the broad majority, it just doesn't seem to work or have any effect. And funnily enough, one of the very first prisons that tried to be a rehabilitation prison, it still is cited as an example of rehabilitation prison, but the guy who actually ran it, I don't remember what happened to him, but it was discovered that he was just beating people. He was making up like fake grades for prisoners to keep them in longer. He was using them for labor.
That's how my dad kept me from coming out gay, actually. He just
beat it out of you
every night until that slur went away.
There was also some discussions about sexual abuse in the prison as well.
Naturally.
And it was to the point where prisoners who were getting arrested were requesting not to be sent to the rehabilitation prison, even though the rehabilitation prison, which is called Elmira, if anyone wants to look it up, they didn't give you a prison sentence. So your release date was just kind of up in the air.
Whenever you got it out.
Just at the whim of the warden.
Yeah. If you could prove that you had rehabilitated yourself, you'd get out. And people thought like, oh, wow, this is much better. And it ended up just being way worse. Like across the board. But it's kind of funny though, because the idea of prison rehabilitation is still like really widespread among the American populace. Like it's a belief that like a lot of people have that prisoners in general can be rehabilitated when it's only true for a minority of them, unfortunately.
Maybe that's a little bit of a incentive-based issue. Like maybe there needs to be some level of tie to like once you go to prison, you now are you're getting kind of close to slavery here again, but like you're some financial ownership back to the prison for rehabilitating you, so that you have an incentive of like if you get 1% of this person's future earnings, maybe you have a larger interest in some of these guys actually coming out as viable citizens someday.
Oh, interesting. That's like a dark economic twist. Huh. It's something it's an interesting thought though.
Culture's downstream of economics in a lot of ways. Some people get that backwards, but your incentives on the line economically often end up forming over time large swaths of what we do culturally.
Yeah, that was the big thing about with the slave trade, where a lot of the ships just like slaves were dying in massive amounts on the way over. And so they had to start incentivizing the ships to make sure that like you only get paid if so many of these people make it, and so you got to do at least more than what you're doing because you're killing most of the cargo.
Could you guys please water the slaves on the trip?
So, but that was a big thing that was like it was economic incentives from essentially the ports and the slave buyers in America or the kind of the West that incentivized people to like, I guess we'll feed them, or we'll do the bare minimum to at least keep them alive because now we have an economic incentive. But before that, it was just like, whatever, like you get what you get, and they're throwing. I've heard. I'm a little rusty on the details of it, but I saw that one stat was, it was wild. It was like 75% of the slaves weren't making it across, and they were just like throwing them overboard or leaving them down there. And then all of a sudden the plague is running through because you've got dead corpses chained up still, and nobody wants to go down in the hold to grab it was just, that's
I guess that would kind of that's probably still predates germ theory too. So they're just
definitely
absolutely packing to the.
They didn't even know about soap in the Civil War, so it's just like, yes, let me perform my 18th amputation here, and let me just dip my hands in this bloody water, and all right, good luck, sir. Here's some whiskey.
Well, look, we know soap is bad for you because it burns when you put it on.
It burns us.
That is funny how much of that and how much of it was like accidentally stumbled upon too. Like I was listening to what was the name? I forgot the word now, the Chinese word. I think it was gu, G-U, which just means poison. And they had like poison ceremonies where you like put several different poisonous creatures inside of a container together, and you would open it and just eat whichever one was still alive to gain its power. But on some small level, they were microdosing venom and poison and becoming immune to it. So it's like they had something. Or Vikings like infusing their steel with animal bones to gain the animal strength and accidentally adding carbon into their steel production, and making their sword stronger. Like every once in a while, magic gets there, It's a roundabout way.
Yeah, sometimes it does. On that note, there's a quick little sidetrack. It's one of my favorite little stories of history. There was, it's like right around the time of Alexander the Great, and there was across the Aegean. You have Pontus essentially, which is in modern day Turkey, but one of the kings, Mike, he kept a vial of poison around his neck, but he would
Mithridates was his name.
Was that the king's name?
I think so.
But he would essentially microdose on poison so he could build up a tolerance in case he was ever poisoned. So eventually, glossing over almost all of the story, Alexander the Great shows up, or one of his generals, and they're here to claim his head. And he's like, "Oh, I'll kill myself," and he drinks all the poison, but it doesn't kill him because he's built up an immunity to said poison.
He's got a 3-month tummy ache instead to deal with in Roman prison. Oh, my tummy hurts again.
I can't believe this backfired.
Those flashbacks, too, of all the times he felt sick for an entire weekend because he was trying to build up his immunity, and it ultimately just fucked him in the end. He's like, I could have enjoyed so many more summer days.
Right. And be dead and not be in this prison.
Be tortured by the Romans.
Well, if we do get back to the topic of
Sure.
urban crime in general, one thing that I often see discussed in relation to crimes like this one that we're talking about is that the left will say they want mass public transit, and the right will often say that you can have it so long as you actually swiftly deal with any sort of disturbance to the public peace on these public transport things. And obviously, the experience of someone who's lived in a city and rides on public transport tends to agree with this, that unless it's heavily policed in some way, shape, or form, it's just so, anathemic to just having a decent day that most people will avoid it just to avoid the experience. And it does make you wonder if we have a car culture just as a function of being unwilling to deal with crime. And also the idea of living downtown. There's many parts of a city that are just kind of awash with crime, and the property is cheap, but no one would ever think to live there. It does make you wonder if a lot of our problems just stem from an inability or unwillingness to prosecute crime. I mean, this guy, 14 arrests, 6 felony arrests, in a state that has a 3-strike law, but his charges were dropped so many times he never reached 3 strikes over the course of 14 arrests. It's kind of wild.
Yeah,
it does make you wonder if the left is just kind of destroying the very places they say they want to have, just pathologically, or being misguided, or because they're in the bed of big property developers that just want to bulldoze entire areas of towns at a later point without people ever speaking out against it. I don't know. It could be any one of those three, but it is kind of an interesting idea about these common spaces that the left wants. Do y'all think there's any merit to this idea, or do you think that there's maybe a different solution to getting us common spaces beyond just removing crime?
No, I think that's pretty spot on. And it is wild to see how liberals will try to, virtue signal about all of these things and then allow their cities to just fall in ruins, right? Did you guys see it's like Trump was talking about deploying the National Guard to Chicago, and this news reporter went up to, some random black person, I assume, and they're like, "What do you think about this?" And they're like, "I don't know, 50 people got shot over this weekend, so it sounds like a good thing to me." And they're like, "Well, aren't you worried?" It's like, "Nope, I'm not worried about the National Guard. I'm worried about the niggas around the corner, like they're the danger, not the National Guard."
I did on the other side of that saw one gentleman who at least claimed to be gang affiliated that was like, the gangs in Chicago are going to wipe out the National Guard when they come in here. Which in my head I was like, I don't think they're even talking about aiming for you guys, man. If you don't fucking poke the hornet's nest, what the fuck are you doing? Trying to pick a fight with the U.S. military, stupid.
Yeah, and that is kind of crazy too, because just from virtue of the way law is enforced, the National Guard's always going to have to jump on you if you're like a gang member. Sure, you have the element of surprise, but they get to hold their guns in their hands, like loaded and ready to go. You really can't. You gotta hide yours and draw it in time and hope you get them. Like, it's just I don't know, awful instincts.
Yeah, there's just no reason to make yourself the target. He puffing out your chest. I wonder if in his neighborhood too, there's a bunch of gangster guys that see him as incredibly corny, and he's super into like liberal politics, and they're like, "Shut up, dude. It's not. None of us give a shit about that. Don't try to claim gangster to make Democrats look tough, you asshat."
Yeah, it very well could be, because like obviously I have zero connection to the gang world. I have no idea who's like relevant in that space or who would be given some credence if they were to speak. So like I don't know, like we could be listening to the equivalent of like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a fake right winger, and like every leftist is like, "Oh, this is what the conservatives think," but like you're like, that guy's an idiot.
Kind of, not that I have a person in mind, but kind of what I see a lot with the ATF.
How so?
Like a lot of lefties are like, "Oh, they're just there to protect gun rights," and every real gun owner on the right's like, "Fuck those pieces of shit."
Oh yeah.
But I know a lot of lefties assume that righties really love the ATF because they're there to supposedly to preserve gun rights. Although nobody on the right seems to have that opinion of them.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting too, because there is definitely a lot of disconnect sometimes when like people don't have any connection to a community. Like, the left will say that like, "Oh, the right really loves the military," but like for the most part, we're all just kind of tired of it. I mean, unless it's doing something relevant to us, which we'll talk about later. But any sort of bomb that gets dropped in the Middle East, I don't think there's a handful of people on the right who are like kind of okay with it, but no one's really cheering anymore except for like some cornball boomers for the most part.
There's definitely the strong neocon boomer contingency still exists. They haven't died off just yet. There's certainly those people. It's just every time something bad happens, it's time for somebody wearing a towel on their head to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teach them a lesson.
Back on the whole like crime thing, because what was that meme that you sent earlier about the 80% of crime could be reduced if you started locking up people that was it on their it's called third strike or something, or second strike, and it's like crime is a policy choice. I do wonder about society's stomach, where it would be very unfortunate, right? Where I view it the same as El Salvador. You go out, you start rounding up people. There's a non-zero amount of innocent people that will probably die in that jail. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you're not going to be able to ever get around that. But it seems like this idea of the American, like the philosophy behind the American justice system, where it's better to let 99 guilty men go than to let one innocent man go to prison. It's like, it's like, no, let's flip that. I'd much rather have one innocent man go to jail than have 99 criminals out on the streets. And I wonder what type of switch or what type of trigger or event would have to happen in society for us to be like, well, it does suck, but we're going to write off an entire generation of people. It's like essentially like young black, like not even young black men, but that is a huge portion of it. But it's just like criminals, we're writing you off, and there's no hope. Like
that could be one thing that would help, is if the people on the right stopped making the federal case out of exclusively the white girl getting killed. Like if this story blew up every weekend when black on black
50 people happened, got shot in Chicago over Labor Day weekend.
Right.
That nobody hears about that.
I don't know one right winger that's saying a goddamn thing about that.
It's got to be on video. That's really the issue here. Unfortunately,
for sure.
Video, because if someone
emotion.
Not to make this weird, but there's a bunch of stories of like white people getting killed by black people, but like there's no video, and it pops up on Twitter, it disappears. Like underneath the discussion of Iriana, I can't say her last name, there are people who post all sorts of stories about other people who've died and like nothing ever happened. And I think that's like the broad reality of the US for the most part. Like unless there's some sort of public outcry, literally nothing ever happens. But in answer to your question, Matt, I think we've already like passed the point where the American public is okay with this. From the most part, when you look at the way people vote when crime is concerned, they have overwhelmingly voted for tougher crime in almost every aspect. More than half of the U.S. states have three-strike laws implemented already. The big issue, though, is that if you have judges or DAs who take over who do not wish to charge, you can totally sidestep the 3-strike law in its entirety, which is what happened with this guy. It's what happens with a bunch of other people all over the place. I mean, you watch criminals who've been arrested 27 times in a state that has a 3-strike law, and it begs the question, like, everything is put in place except for the actual enforcement or the executive method of enforcing crime. And without that thing, which is the linchpin for it all, it never ends up happening. And ironically, it ends up making people even more extreme. It kind of radicalizes them even further, because let's say you vote for tougher penalties on crime, it's enacted and that doesn't happen. Well, then your answer isn't like, oh, well, I guess I'll vote for it again. You're like, who's the next person who's promising me something even stronger? This didn't seem to work. And I think what we'll end up seeing is people will get like much further radicalized than they need to before this problem ends up like finally being solved for real. And I'm personally okay with that, but like that seems to be the only way to do it.
That kind of raises my antenna as the constant conspiracy theorist on the show of when you get to that, like, it's a feature, not a bug in the government thing of like, I don't know, maybe that's exactly what they want. If they can continue to get you to vote for a stronger and stronger police state and just never deliver on it until the point where they are overwhelmingly have every right to do everything they would like as a police state. There's certainly an incentive in there to be said of like, it's what part of the government doesn't like expanding its own powers and wouldn't appreciate just going like, well, every time they lose their mind, as long as they're mad and voting to give us more power, we'll just keep letting them do that.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. And I can't really discount that as a conspiracy theory because, when you ask, like, what is the actual purpose of a system, the answer is what it does. And it's certainly possible that this could be the intent. There's a lot of other things involved as well. Like, one thing that's kind of funny is sometimes after these calls, Matt and I will sit around and look around on Google Earth at random neighborhoods to see like where the ghetto is in town. And we had been looking in Baltimore once and we couldn't find it. We kept going to a bunch of streets that were supposed to be high crime, and we ended up finding like brand new developments, brand new mid-rises that had been built. And one thing that I've heard recently is that they intentionally won't prosecute crime in certain neighborhoods so that people have a bad opinion about it. Property values go down while the sales price of property goes down while the valuation stays up. And then they will intentionally not bill people for certain things that the city bills for, and let the bills accumulate for, let's say, if the city is covering water, or they won't send a tax bill for a couple of years, and then they'll send them all at once to a neighborhood, and then people can't pay, and then the city will say like, hey, a developer has agreed to buy this out from us, and we'll cover all of the tax expenses. We're owed $20 million from this one neighborhood. We're pushing to tear down the whole thing. And for the most part, most people will just say like, okay, fine. We hate that place. It's full of crime. They owe us a lot of money. We have a solution to get out of it. We will happily vote for this. And then these areas end up just getting bulldozed and turned into like rich developments. And it seems like they're doing that in Philadelphia as well. In like the Kensington neighborhood, which is full of people who are spent, just homeless people everywhere, crime everywhere. And eventually people get so fed up, again, you get to bulldoze these things. And I do have to wonder if rich property developers have some sort of interest. Maybe if they're tied to local legislatures, maybe they're tied to these DAs. It's hard to tell sometimes. Could this be just not BlackRock, but like entities like BlackRock just stoking the flame to get what they want? And I don't really know the answer to that, but there's definitely room for conspiracy theory here.
Oh, absolutely. I also did look up because I was curious. The city of Charlotte, their budget for the police is $285 million. And I know that's nothing compared to like New York City, which is it's like 10 or $11 billion a year they spend. But that's the thing. It's like, if you're spending, like, let's take New York City. If you're spending $11 billion a year on your police and people are afraid to ride the subway, it's, like, at what level? And this just goes to like the absolute waste and corruption and inefficiencies of government, where I don't know if yeah, sure, maybe in the short term a private security company could clean up the subway, but now we're into the warring tribes of the warring security companies controlling turf, and we're back to like the Italian crime mob families, only it's just like security services fighting over
corporations.
pretty, but but it does make you wonder about like, what are you getting for your money? Like the city of Charlotte, you spend $285 million on police, and a lot of that's personnel, but still, like, if I was a resident of Charlotte, or I mean, even in my community, like right now, like it seems like the police are. I heard this stat, and I have no idea if it's true or not, but like we have a couple of really zealous new cops, and they're just pulling people over. You know, it's like 1 mile an hour over. They're pulling you over for the intention of trying to see if you've been drinking. So they can pull you up for DUI, right? It's like we had 3 checkpoints on Memorial Day weekend. It was wild. And like, you know, you guys know where it's like one is okay, one it's Memorial Day weekend, fine, but 1 is fine, but 2 is too many, and 3 is way too many fucking checkpoints.
Tyranny now, goddammit.
For sure. It's a real thing. And
on that note, real quick, just to give some friendly advice, I heard that Monster energy drinks register on breathalyzer tests. So maybe not the worst idea to throw a Monster in the cab of your car in case you do get pulled over.
Yeah,
and take a sip of it on that body cam so that it gives you a little out in court later.
Fair enough. Plausible deniability.
I like fair. That.
Just to toss it out.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'd heard this stat that like where I live has had, because of this overzealous engagement of 1 or 2 officers, that we have like a higher DUI rate than Albuquerque. And it's like, come on, guys, this is insane. Like there's real, to which I'm like, if you guys want to go bust heads, like go to Espanola. The governor declared a state of emergency. Like if you want to go fight criminals and go, you know, there's places that you can go fight gangbangers, but it's, oh cool, you're just going to harass people driving in the mountains. Like, oh, it's so tough. It really does. But it makes me question. It's like, is this what this is what we're funding? Because I don't feel safer because of it. And in fact, it's like, this is like, oh, like, go fuck yourself. Go somewhere else. Go fight real crime, because people driving 2, 3, 4, 5 miles an hour over in a mountain town, that's hardly crime that needs to be addressed. But on the flip side, if you live in a city like Charlotte or New York City or Chicago, then you wonder, it's like, damn, I feel like I'm getting too much for my tax dollars from the police. But on the flip side, I bet these people are like, we're not getting nearly enough, because if this can happen to her, then it can happen to me, and it can happen to anybody.
Well, I'd like to share a screen. I don't know if anyone can see it or not.
Let me put it up.
Yeah, go for it. So this is what you get for $285 million you spent on police. The police did their job. They arrested him 14 separate times.
Now, okay, bottom row. I saw this exact picture. Bottom row, third from the left. Is that really the same dude?
I don't know.
Let me. So different.
He looks a little different, but it's fine.
Yeah, that does.
Look at just look
like
at how large his nostrils are in every other photo. You can see how round his nostrils are.
Dude, you're talking to experts here. We know nostrils around here on this podcast.
His eyebrows also a totally different angle than almost every other picture.
All right, so they slipped one in.
It could be a guy who has like a different name. So yeah, that would maybe have 13 arrests of this guy, and then one guy with an identical name and just a different face.
Threw one on his record.
Possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
He also went from at least braids, if not dreads, to that shaven head back to braids in the next one. Like, I don't think it's
it even has a different police Cumberland versus the other city. They probably, okay. They got it wrong.
AI threw one in there.
Yeah, whoever
another
made this
guilty black
was not black and didn't notice it was a different guy.
They couldn't tell.
They all looked the same to me.
That actually kind of would low-key be a pretty funny post. It's just to post this exact post, but with 14 different black men would be
with all the same name, and see if anybody notices.
I mean, low-key, you're right, Logan. You could do that. I think most people would not notice. But this is what you get, I mean, obviously in your case, Matt, the police are there just drumming up money because, you arrest someone
for sure.
DUI. It's a great moneymaker there. That's someone who has a car, has a job, is tied in, and more importantly, like has paid their taxes. So like has money they can spend. If you go to Hispaniola, like you said, and arrest gang members, unless they're selling drugs, which maybe you can confiscate some property worth money, there's really no revenue in it whatsoever. So, most of the budget that we approve for police is doing things that are like revenue negative, because like you're not going to make money doing it.
Right.
And, when your state is paying for DUI enforcement, they're doing that with the hope of an ROI. Whereas here we have a city paying for police to go and arrest criminals, and they're doing everything they're supposed to do. But the last step of the chain is just not able to actually execute.
That's actually a really good point, and I'm glad you said that, because it is a really good counter. The police are doing their job. They have done their job. And as you said earlier, the linchpin is that the executive at the end of the judiciary process is not doing their part. The judge and the DA, right? The people that are, take a public an oath to serve and protect the public are acting counter to that by letting this guy off easy. Because if you'd had even if you want to be generous to be like, maybe a couple of these wouldn't be worth a strike, 6 felony arrest, at that point it's like,
I said that to somebody talking about this the other day, of the 14 arrests, and they were like, well, yeah, but like, what was he arrested for? Was it violent crime? You're like, it's 14 arrests. That's a lot of fucking arrests, man.
A lot of arrests.
I've been arrested, and I know I look like every cop's son in the world, but I've had 0 arrests in my lifetime.
Yeah, I've never been
incredibly
arrested.
hard to not get arrested, in my estimation. Maybe it's
And,
just my
and I
experience.
understand, like, maybe one, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I know people like, so what? You got arrested once, and you got held overnight in the drunk tank or whatever. Even a couple of, it's like lots of public intoxications, and you get held in the drunk tank and kicked out the next morning. That's fine. But we're talking about like 6 felony arrests. That's a lot. Even if you wanted to say like, one of them, the police turned off his body cam and planted evidence, and even if you try to give him the most benefit of the doubt, it's like, well, okay, cool. There's 5 or 4, enough to block him up on 3 strikes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and if we're not even charging them, we're not locking them up, then whatever your belief is about prison, whether it should be rehabilitation, punitive, or just removing from society, we're just not doing any one of these things.
Right.
I think that's the big problem, like a lot of these cities, and whoever you believe is behind this, whether there's a conspiracy, whether it's Soros, whether it's property developers, or whether it's just pure apathy, they're getting a lot of bang for their buck. We're, from the society standpoint, we're spending money on police, we're spending money on facilities, we're spending money on surveillance, and the end result, the one thing we do want, is not happening. Whereas on the other side, all they have to do is spend money on like one DA. They've got like an entire city locked up, 5 judges. They've got a county locked up. Like, it really doesn't take much. And you'd think we'd be more protective of this last step of the actual prosecutorial line. And maybe we will be in the future. Maybe that's the one thing that's going to come out of this in terms of how people view judges and the judiciary system as a whole. I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, let me throw this at the wall. This was another angle I was thinking about. If you don't want to go the Soros and like what is the evil masters behind the curtain doing, could this be the classic meme of like the British woman shouting down the British man for being racist and then crying about all the Pakistanis in her country later? And it's like this is what you voted for thing. The meme I saw earlier was that we live in a sad crying womanocracy, which is a decision-making authority invested in sad crying women. Government power and legitimacy derives from women crying and looking really sad whenever the right to govern is challenged. That made me just giggle. But on a more serious note, like, I've brought this up before, of like, we're going to see different problems as we become a little more feminine as a society, which we've definitely taken a step away from masculinity in my mind in recent decades and kind of become a more female first or at least female inclusive society when it comes to leadership. And maybe this is one of those downstream effects of that, is that the more feminine line of thinking is that they don't want to be mean to anybody. They want to be, I want to give this guy another chance, even though he's had 6 felonies and 14 arrests. And then you end up having a guy stab some girl on the bus. Whereas a more male driven society might have beheaded that guy 3 charges ago.
Right.
It's possible. And I'll say something really short, Matt, and then you can hop in. It's probably not a coincidence that the women's suffrage movement happened around the same time as the prison rehabilitation movement.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Good catch.
That's a pretty interesting little coincidence. This is just a shameless plug.
2 mistakes in the same 10 years.
Right. Dude, the 19th Amendment and its consequences. Just still dealing with it. But there's a really good YouTube, like he does some Instagram pages, but his YouTube is really in depth, and it's called Ho Math, where he does he has these very long form breakdowns of the issue that Logan that's talking about, where it's like, okay, you petition the government, and this is so now they take and all of these kind of back end ways of how we get the society that we have.
Your wage gap addressed by the government, and then the downstream problem of women not being attracted to men who don't make
exactly
more money.
Because all of that stuff, and I think it's a very real thing. And there was on that note, Jordan Peterson came out with a new book, and I'm enjoying this one because he is transition to like interesting Jordan Peterson, not I'm so far up my own asshole, all I see is my own bullshit Jordan Peterson.
Not the one who cries at the drop of a hat.
Exactly. For sure, not that one. But he has a really interesting, and I'll just quick synopsis of it, but he has like a really interesting interpretation of the Garden of Eden and the folly of like the sins of man and women, and like what the original sin of each gender is. And the original sin of Eve, according to him, is that she thinks that she can tame the serpent, right? That I'm the nurturing.
And I'll tell you this much, sweetheart, you can't trade this trouser serpent right here.
Oh yeah. Well done. That was not even bad, Jordan Peterson. But it is interesting because if you view kind of what this conversation has been circling, if you view it through that, it's like, oh, we can, because almost like sometimes I almost feel like the liberal ideology just like takes on the ideology of women to a degree. Like it's like, oh, we can fix them. We can say, I can tame the serpent when you're talking about like a disproportionately violent group of population of the public. And it's like, no, you can't. Like you got to chop the head of the snake off, or at least put them in state hospitals. But I think it is interesting because
concentration hospitals.
It all does kind of circle the same kind of the same theme of like, oh, we can solve this. It's not that the snake is actually bad. It's just it hasn't been given the right amount of attention. Where it's like at a certain point you have to acknowledge it's like, no, the snake's just bad and it's going to bite you, and you're going to die because it's going to bite you.
It's interesting. I'd never viewed that as like a feminine idea before, but it's certainly plausible that it could be. I'd always viewed it as more of like a hubris, because I think there are people who believe that any problem we have can be solved. Anything we encounter can be fixed. And, the truth is there's certain things we have to give up on. There's certain people we have to give up on. There's certain places, ideas, concepts. And, looking at the way we treated crime prior to the rehabilitation movement, especially in England, almost every offense was a capital offense. You were hung. I sent y'all that link about the 8-year-old. England holds the record for the youngest person ever executed. 8 years old, executed for setting a barn on fire. And they did that in England for 1,000 years. And I think that's probably the only way you could turn that island from, the Romans arrived and it was just a bunch of Celts and dudes who painted their chest blue and stole everything that wasn't nailed down, into what it is today, which is just a bunch of dudes who sip tea and eat croissants. I don't know.
Crumpets.
And crumpets. Don't have enough balls to fight police officers for hassling them about a TV license.
Yeah.
How quickly I'd murder a cop if they try to take a TV away from me.
There's a certain bit of eugenics that can be seen in having a criminal policy that's focused on capital punishment that early. And it's probably for the best, because if I've come to a belief that I don't really like that a certain bit of criminology is inherent in genetics and can't be escaped. And if you happen to be born with the criminology gene, I don't think it can be solved. And I think the hubris is thinking that we can fix these people, we can rehabilitate them, we can make them better. And I think the real truth is you can only remove them from society, hopefully quick enough before they're able to make another one. And if you do it long enough, over a long enough time span, the population you're left with is one that can be trusted. It's a high trust society, but I think it's the only way we get there. And Obviously, this is a hoe-scaring belief, but it's
Which is
it's
why, in my heart, I believe that is kind of a feminine point, because the fact that it scares every woman that I haven't had a 24 hours worth of political conversations with to prep them for that idea first.
Right. This is such an abrasive idea that I will not be getting her phone number tonight.
I'm sure y'all have seen the meme. It's this funny meme with like a gorilla. He's sitting there and he starts slowly looking over his shoulder. But they do it, and the text at the top is like, I'm on a date with a woman and someone behind me is talking about Epstein Island. Someone is talking about something hoe-scaring behind me.
Hey, can you guys
do I speak up? Do I hold my peace? I think it's something every man can identify with.
For sure. It's
That's
a
funny.
real thing. But
That's
it's also
one of my
I think-
favorite tweets I've
Go
seen
ahead.
before too, is that like all women long for a man who reads, but every man who reads eventually develops some sort of hoe-scaring political view that no women want to deal with.
Absolutely. We're not reading Morning Glory Milking Farm or whatever.
Did I show y'all that, or did you find that
Yes,
separately
no.
from me?
We
Okay.
talked about it last episode.
time.
That
Okay.
was, dude, oh my God, some of those titles, they were wild.
Quan Mills.
Dude,
I still think we should all order, and I specifically think his newest release of
oh yeah, it's a good read,
Alien
so I hear.
Twinks and the DL thugs who love them. I think we should all write separate book reports and come back together.
The DL thugs that love them. Dude. I forgot all about that, but now it comes flashing in vivid memory. But I think that what we're talking about though is like kind of what like the host scare topics. It's a like what we're talking about immediately is a stand-in for society at large, where you have these ideas that are so jarring to conventional, I guess not even wisdom is way too strong of a word, but like conventional like thinking and the cultural zeitgeist, where it just instantly like people recoil, like, what do you mean you're just gonna? But if somebody is smart enough to suffer through the conversation, at the end they would realize that yeah, we are, like, at least me, I can only speak for me, like I do have some deep fascist tendencies. What led me to libertarianism, or that like spectrum, is that I have fascist tendencies, but you can't give the government that type of power. So I don't know what to do
If it's
now.
not my power. I'm not likely to hold that power, so maybe I am against it.
Look, guys, real fascism hasn't been tried yet.
They were too soft, those Nazis.
But I do wonder though, at what point, yeah, like earlier, when's the trigger and when's the shift where your quote unquote normies and NPCs are going to start to entertain the ideas of like, yeah, maybe we should start just rounding people up. Because like you said earlier, Keith, that the government's inability to deal with these problems in the short term are only going to make more radical solutions. And instead of in the short term, where it's like, no, I'm not talking about rounding up people wholesale. I'm talking about like a very targeted approach. Well, that targeted approach is going to quickly not be enough for a lot of people. And they're like, nope, round them all up. I want to see, ICE raids with, what was it, Trojan Horse, where apparently, I guess in Los Angeles, ICE rented a Penske truck and put a bunch of ICE agents in the back, and they pulled up to a Home Depot and asked for a bunch of day workers, and then all of a sudden, like the door flies up, and it's like, you're under, to which Penske's only comment to that was like, we don't support, like, nowhere in our policy is it allowed, are you allowed to move humans in the truck? They weren't like against it, just like, no, you can't buy our trucks for that, guys. Like, for your ICE raids, we're not even against the ICE raids, you just can't use our trucks for them. But
those guys were amped in the back of that truck, especially the kind of guys who signed up to be ICE agents. There's probably a lot of like snickering and like, shh, be quiet.
They're outside. I can hear them. You hear that accent? Jose's definitely out there. but I think that it's like a failure, right? You get this long failure of the Biden administration not addressing what is rampant, unchecked immigration, to where now people are like, yeah, I do support ICE agents showing up to Home Depot and grabbing people wholesale with no distinction. Like, but if you had addressed it a little bit earlier, I think your normal person would be like, I don't know. Do we really want to go after Home Depot people? They are helping. It's like I've hired some in the past. But at this point, they're like, no, go get them. Go get them. Yeah. Like, go get them all.
Solid point. Because, I mean, in the 2016 election, I think all people really wanted was just a wall and like a slowdown of people crossing. And, 2024, what do people want? Even this, people think is like not extreme enough. They're like, well, we're kind of getting what we voted for, but we want more. And I think that's just kind of how that moves. If you have to vote for something twice, the second time you want much more than the first time. And 3 times, 4 times, 5, who knows? And I think crime will eventually be in that same bucket if it's not already. I genuinely think Gen Z is far more extreme than me, and then us, and then in general. The conversation, if you go to like extremely young people, it's like, why don't we just ship them all back to Africa? That's the conversation.
Hell, we already made the country. It's called Liberia. We tried this once.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, I just want to arrest 12-year-olds. Jesus.
I'm just.
Maybe this is back in our like combining problems into one solution issue. My first thought was just give them Israel, but obviously our government can't do that. So maybe we give them like a 2-mile diameter around the exterior of Israel as the new Liberia, a buffer zone.
A buffer zone.
Huh. Damn. So you're just running new Donbass, new Palestine on the Donbass. You're just
yeah. I'm just running that. I'm running back my greatest hit.
New Liberia and Israel.
Just spitballing ideas here.
Dude, just running it back, dude. I love it, dude. New Palestine on the Donbass is one of the best ideas you've ever had. So.
That one worked. That one worked right away. This one might need some workshopping, but there's something there.
Oh, but no, actually, I think you're really onto something, because given just the natural tide of what's going on over there, eventually Israel will take all of the West Bank and they're going to start pushing up against this new buffer zone. And they're slowly but surely going to start sending in settlers, and then maybe there's going to be a breakout of them, and now there's a full-blown, let's call it mass murder of civilians, because a couple of them got out and did some naughty things. I think you're onto something, dude. We're killing like 5 birds with one stone here. I think that this solves like short-term problems and long-term problems.
And this is why until we get solutions like this,
wait, what'd you say,
Trump
Kiefer?
administration?
Said we just export our crime problem to Israel. The only problem is that like I'd be there too, and I'd be like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
Can you guys podcast this week? No, Israel cut off our internet again.
I for one welcome our Israeli settler overlords.
Oh, you're gonna join Team Israel as soon as you get over there, Matt?
Fuck yeah, I am, dude. Locked in New Liberia with all the crimes.
You put a little kipple on, you might could go for Spartak.
Dude, I'll convert, bro. If it saves me the warning bombing of my building, oh yeah, I welcome the settlers for sure. Because the last thing I want to die in the rubble with all the Browns.
Look, dude, I'm not trying to join your like liberal government. Conservative, religious, extremist, hardline government. I feel like that would serve me more. So I'm joining Gaza and joining the Palestinians, man. I'll finally get to say, like, hey, look, this is right. We're hanging the criminals again. We're throwing them off roofs. Don't let the women girls get through, brother. I've seen this once before. I know how this ends. Once you let them vote and once you let them drive, it's all downhill from there.
Oh my god! And don't let them get married because it's
My brother,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna be
you do not know what this will do to our insurance claims.
I'm sold. New Liberia. What?
See, these are until we start seeing ideas like this come out of the Trump administration. I don't want to ever hear the term 5D chess associated with Trump ever again.
Fair enough. Agreed. I'll back you on that one. Agreed, 100%.
That's fair. I've rarely ever heard the term and been like, yes, this is 5D. Yeah, most of the time it's like 2D, and I'm like, guys, come on. Come on, man.
That's just regular chess. 2D chess it's just chess.
Regular chess is 3D, brother. I don't play on chess online. I play in real life against real people. All right.
I mean, the pieces are 3D, but the playing field is 2, to be fair.
Not wrong.
I play on a thicker playing field. I'm not poor. My playing field is 3D as well.
No, it's definitely
chessboard with some hills and valleys in it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, then you got a really nice, you got a rich person chessboard.
Super nice chessboard.
Ooh, look at me! I bought Bitcoin. I have a 3D chessboard.
My
Oh.
work is on a hill. All right. It's a defensible position.
All my pawns are U.S. soldiers and my king's Netanyahu right here. This is
Is there a river? The Jordan River, is that the border between Israel and Jordan, or is the Jordan River encased in Israel? Is that the
I'm
border
going to
of the
look on
West
Google
Bank?
Maps because I have no idea.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head on that one.
All right. I don't really see a river here yet. I know there is supposed to be one because, like, didn't Jesus wash his feet somewhere?
I thought there was one between the Sea of Galilee and the.
Oh yeah, okay.
Red
So the
Sea.
Jordan River is a border, but it's a border between both Palestine and Israel. So the north.
So
part
it's
of
the West Bank. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. It's the west bank of the river is the border.
Okay.
And it looks like it goes all the way.
That's probably why they call it the West Bank.
Oh, never mind. It only goes
That's
to the Red
funny.
Sea. It doesn't go any further.
Oh, it goes
After
all the
that,
way to the Red
others-
Sea?
Yeah. After that, the border is just a random line in the desert.
That is funny.
Oh.
That's literally the river and the river to the sea thing they keep saying that.
Right. And we're just, it's like,
That's the river they're referring to.
ding.
It does make sense.
Right. It's like, oh, this all checks out from the river to the sea. It's like, oh, yeah, the West Bank.
I'd love to give you more shit about it, but I didn't know where it was either until I looked it up just now.
Yeah, fair. I'm not going to pretend to be Mr. Geography expert.
I was just
if
really
it's-
hoping that there was a river that, New Palestine on the Don has such a ring to it. Like New Liberia on the
Jordan.
but it's it's like, yeah, we can get, dude. We don't care about the Palestinians anyway, so let's just go ahead and fund Israel another $20 trillion. Let them finish the West Bank off too, because that's where they're going next, and then we create New Liberia on the West Bank, or New Liberia in the Jordan. That sounds way better. Sounds like a Carnival cruise, and they'll like that.
And
They will
Jordan is-
like that. They like Carnival cruises. They will like this.
Could we
The flag-
rename the Jordan to the Kobe?
the Kobe.
Dude, New Liberia on the Kobe. Let's fucking go. Yes.
We might actually do that one.
Holy shit.
Somebody get a hold of the president right now.
All of a sudden, it's like I have this deep desire to want to just like completely derail my life and start doing all of the right things so where I can make a serious presidential run in like 10 years. And that's like my first task to my UN ambassador is that you're to go to the UN and propose New Liberia on the Kobe. And they're like, the Kobe? And it's like, come on. Like, let me just I'll catch you up to speed.
You remember that Gulf of America thing? It's going to be a lot bigger than that.
Yeah, it was easier than we thought. That was just a trial run.
We could apparently you can just rename things, and so since we're sending all the money to Israel anyways, why should we not have naming rights over their rivers? So the Jordan is now the Kobe.
Low key, we should like pass like an aid package. The next package to Israel, just have that in the fine print.
In the legislation.
As soon as you spend $1 of this, you've rescinded all naming rights to all rivers
in your country. And then they just come along. And it's like, the Kobe's looking pretty good. It's like, this is the Jordan River. It's like, no, sir, it's not.
Me and the family, we had a great vacation. We actually saw the spot where allegedly Jesus got baptized in the Kobe. So that was really cool. I should have said dunked in the Kobe.
Dunked in the Kobe.
Oh, that would have been better.
La Spirit de l'Escalier, man. That was as good as it gets.
I really like the Michael B. Jordan. I like the joke that the B stands for basketball.
Basketball Jordan.
Yes.
Michael Basketball Jordan.
Indeed. Because
rather ironic fit of naming.
Yeah, right. He's really good at the shooty hoop, so I hear. So I will say this, and then we can move on because I know that Kiefer is trying to keep us on track, and I appreciate that. This last Sunday night, I imagine that Josh Allen, when he's sitting there on the sideline with 5 minutes left, down, 14-15, he just had his wife spitting in Michael B. Jordan's mouth and her on top of him, like running in his mind. And he's like, I'm going to go. He's like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go like, there's black people on the other side. I don't like them. I'm going to go win a fucking football game because my wife is spit in the mouth of a black guy and I don't like this. And I'm going to like, give me the ball, coach. I just have this image like every time that he's down, he's just going to picture his wife with Michael B. Jordan. And he's going to
she used to date Michael B. Jordan, or is this just
the movie Sinners?
I didn't know she was married to him.
Yeah, she's married to him.
Oh, that's his wife. Interesting.
Yeah, that's his wife. And so now every time he's down, I just picture him just like replaying her on top of Michael B. Jordan.
Truck some middle linebacker the next play. Don't ever talk to my wife again.
Every day he's in the weight room. He's just like picturing. I think that's.
I have to become strong enough to kill vampires with my hands, coach.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do that, man. Like, I know acting is not real, but like the idea that it's like, yeah, we need 7 takes. She needs to keep doing it until we get the right amount of phlegm in the spit over and over and over. I'm not sure I could look at my wife the same afterwards and being like, yeah, so we want to go see this opening night, right? Like, no.
I don't want to see you try humping that sexy black man. All right.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that.
Or even more, how many men have we seen that have like been supportive of their wife's OnlyFans careers to only later become just broken cucks of human beings when their wives it takes a toll. Every one of those guys I can think of in my head are all like 20-30 pounds less heavy than they used to be and skinny and like just broken humans. They all start looking like Gollum.
It's almost as bad as heroin as far as like how it affects people, man. I think people like to pretend they're strong enough and they can do it, but I don't really think that like men especially are made for
the cuck chair. No way. Yeah. Men are not made for the cuck chair. There's no way. And
not at all.
But yeah, that's the one. I just pictured him on the sideline down. He's just picturing his wife dry humping Michael B. Jordan, and he's just like, I'm gonna go win a fucking football game.
God damn.
This is probably why Brady, his last season was just so awful, because like on the other hand, it's like his wife wasn't doing it in a movie; it was for real with her personal trainer. And you're just like, I picked one last season only to find out she's been cheating on me and we're getting divorced. There's, if the personal trainer was black, maybe it would have helped actually.
Yeah, you never know. There's
a Hispanic guy from what I remember.
It's hard to remove that like a touch of racism underneath. It's like a real big fuel. I'll say this and then we can move on. Did you guys ever see that clip of in that season yelling at his offensive line? They were losing, I want to say to like the Bears or somebody, and Tom Brady's like, I didn't leave my fucking wife to lose to the goddamn Bears. It's like talking about motivation, like, yeah, all right, Tom, we'll block better.
God damn. I'm not sure if that would help me block better, dude. I'd just be sitting there having like existential dread about what it's all about. Is like, is this
Right.
it? Is my life just football?
Right. If like Tom can't keep a wife, hope
Maybe I
I
should.
have.
Yeah, maybe I should spend some more time with my wife. Tom Brady guy seems like he's become consumed.
Late to practice.
He
lost
his
goodbye.
wife, and he's open mouth kissing his son on camera.
It's like, damn, is this all there is? This got to be more than football, right?
I'm going to share this one real quick.
Yeah, it's the most haunting thing anyone could ever say. It's probably why that team was so awful in their.
Y'all seen Drake's alleged child and Drake's wife's trainer?
Oh yeah, Kendrick's already hit him about this.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that was.
Oh yeah, dude, this was definitely brought up in the feud. You think Kendrick's not going to rap about that curly-headed little fuck that doesn't look like Drake and looks a lot like the personal trainer? Come on, bro.
Yeah,
it's a weird one with Sinatra with that too. I think it was Woody Harrelson's wife allegedly, and he's got one of the not Woody Harrelson, Woody Allen rather, and one of Woody Allen's kids is a very, very tall Jew with blue eyes.
Oh, interesting. It's not the stepdaughter that he married, right?
No.
Okay. Reminds me, there's an episode in King of the Hill where Nancy's stopped cheating on Dell and she thinks she's gonna go back to John Redcorn, and she's like, the heart wants what the heart wants, Woody Allen, and Peggy's like, no, he married his stepdaughter.
No.
Anyways, we can move on to the next topic.
Okay, I'll stop looking at celebrities' children that don't look like that.
I feel like we have probably mined the criminal topic for as much as it's worth. The next one I did want to bring up was Pax Americana, which is a concept. And for those unfamiliar, I'm basically referencing the term Pax Romana, which is, or I forget the exact word. It was probably Romana, but essentially it means the Roman peace. And it was a peace across a large continent occupied by Rome. And the point was that Rome was enforcing this peace and making this area peaceful in much the same way that if I want to talk about the Pax Americana, it's this concept of like, what if both North and South America were actually fairly peaceful places where people could, participate in economies, raise families, and just live general lives without concern for large conflict, drug dealing gangs taking over most of the territory, and the violence they bring. And this was brought up because of what Trump has been doing lately in the Caribbean Ocean. He was given permission by Trinidad and Tobago, which is an island that borders Venezuela, and Guyana, which is a country that borders Venezuela that Venezuela declared war on. He was given permission to send U.S. troops, U.S. naval forces into their oceans to deal with what he calls Venezuelan drug dealing gangs, which is Tren de Aragua. And some of y'all might have seen some footage from last week of the U.S. Navy firing on a dinghy with 4 outboard motors that had left Venezuelan waters and was heading towards God knows where. And the claim was that this boat was full of Tren de Aragua gang members that were smuggling drugs across the Caribbean. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the idea of the U.S. military actually being used to enforce a broader peace within the U.S.'s sphere via the Monroe Doctrine, which would be all of North and South America, isn't like the worst idea in the world when we think about like what we're spending money on when it comes to the military. I'm not very much interested in a bomb in who gives a fuckistan for whichever oil company. However, if we were to take back Venezuela on behalf of Shell, I think that would have a far more beneficial outcome for most Americans. Just in the fact of having like one more stable country down there. For some of you who don't know, Shell is currently suing Venezuela in international courts because Venezuela nationalized a bunch of infrastructure they built. Obviously, you can't really sue a country successfully. It's meaningless. However, if we were to knock out Maduro and get someone in who is much more amenable to the U.S., there's a chance they could also be more amenable to Shell, Chevron, and several other large oil companies. And if we're having oil wars in our own sphere, I'd be far more interested in it. But I just wanted to talk about the broader topic because there's a lot of countries in South and Central America that are fairly destabilized. And I think that there would be a lot of broader benefit, let's say, if Nicaragua, Guatemala, and Honduras were like pleasant places to live, to the point where people weren't saying like, I need to leave and go to America for a better life. And instead they were saying like, why don't I open my taco stand here? Or whatever the equivalent would be in whichever country. And it's just something I want to
weird food they make south of Mexico.
I will say, I just real fast. You talking about like I for one welcome like a better Venezuela so Shell can operate. I feel like that was the exact same talking point that's like the United Fruit executives were pitching to Eisenhower, and he's just like, I for one welcome a Guatemala that's much more beneficial and open to U.S. fruit, United
civilized
US
Guatemala.
fruit.
A modern Guatemala, I tell you.
And Eisenhower's like, yeah, that seems like a really good job for the CIA. Let's fund this genocide down there. That's as soon as you said, like, I for one welcome, like,
that's
a Venezuela
definitely
open to Shell, I just thought of United Fruit Company. Which, you know what? It's okay. I'm not opposed.
That's definitely, like, I brought that up a lot. I used to say that a lot in the past of like, oh, if America really cared about your safety, they'd be worried about these cartels in Mexico and South America far before they'd be worried about these terrorists halfway across the world who really don't have any capability of getting here. And the more I've become anti-state and anti-war, I've started like coming off that take a little bit because I don't know how pumped I am to send troops everywhere in South America. And that's the great fear of it. Like in idea form, that's a great thought that, hey, we can make our entire hemisphere modernized. We could, make America better by uplifting our neighbors rather than creating economic warfare all over South America in the name of Shell and BP, and creating situations where these people have to just immigrate out of there and end up coming to America and becoming a burden on our own system and welfare state. But the way those things typically play out, I'm a lot more skeptical. And the fact that we've been already, ever since he nationalized his oil dollar, we've been wanting to take out that particular leadership group in Venezuela. We've been trying that for a good amount of time. So then that when we pivot to like, well, this is all about protecting Americans from drugs, that I don't buy one fucking bit.
And Matt, do you have any comments?
I wonder about this Pax Americana I think this is almost, we run against this with every other topic, right? You're going to have to crack a few eggs, make an omelet. And I know that has justified a lot of atrocious things in the past. And I imagine that establishing like a true Pax Americana that would work for the majority of people in North South America is going to be very unpleasant for a short term, because you're going to have to do very unpleasant things to uproot bad actors. But if you're looking geopolitically, like let's say 100 years in the future, I wonder like how independent could North and South America be, right? Like, do we have all of the resources that we need to sustain everything that we would need moving into the economy of, let's call it 2100, 2200? Because I know that there's a lot of like rare earth minerals in America.
They just found a huge deposit of some of those rare earth minerals that we were afraid we'd have to go to war with China over Taiwan about, I believe, in West Virginia kind of recently.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense. That's and good. I know that
we obviously have a lot of oil. We have a lot of wood, a lot of California's got enough Asian women, so we're good on that.
I mean, there's a lot of copper in Chile. I just wonder, like, if this would be something that is beneficial and right, it's going to be unpleasant, and nobody really wants to see the war machine unleashed in the short term. But if it made the life better for Americans, and in turn, you could solve a lot of the issues that Americans deal with because you fix the underlying root causes, I don't hate the idea. I mean, because it's at this point, it's like, dude, if we're going to spend $1 trillion on the military, we might as well let them run. You know what I mean? It's like, you might as well turn that beast loose and let them do what they do. Like, there's
waste that money. You already spent it.
For sure, there's no reason to fund the military to that degree if we're just going to keep it bottled up and have some, have SEAL Team 6 kill a bunch of North Korean fishermen and scrap missions. It's like, might as well turn the beast loose.
There is a small part of me too that would take some Schadenfreude and all of the people who had the absolutely retarded take of like American government's in for a rude awakening when they realize how brutal these cartels are. It's like, do you have any idea how quickly the U.S. government's going to wash over South America if they decide to do that?
It's like, where do you think the cartel learned those things from? They learned those from CIA black sites, deep in like funding the Contras.
Here's the other secret: the entire world learned everything they know about warfare from CIA black sites, and we give the rest of them weapons, and we're fucking them up. You don't think you're going to get it in South America, motherfuckers?
For real, that's a really good.
This
point.
machine. It's weird how much pride I take in the American war machine when it comes to bragging like that. I jumped on Wii right away as much as I complain about it.
Dude,
look, man,
absolutely.
you can't help it. You yearn to be an American. And this is just a meme for you, Logan, that you might enjoy it. It's one of my favorite memes. Essentially, there's a global resource shortage. And then they say like some random country has large quantities and we don't have it. Someone says, oh, America's finished. And then a random farmer in bumfuck nowhere finds the world's largest supply on American soil. It happens over and over and over again.
Yeah.
The rare earth mineral one was especially funny. It's one of my favorites. Because like there was a time when they thought like we were never going to ever have enough. And it's in Montana. It's a gigantic mine. It's been sitting there for like 30 years and no one bothered to like fully survey it because like what they were digging up was just like these worthless blue rocks. And then they recently resurveyed it.
Hey, they're not worthless. Turquoise. The Southwest loves turquoise, okay?
I'm sure they do.
That's our entire economy in New Mexico is turquoise. Selling turquoise to white people.
Largest rare earth deposit in the world so far.
That's and isn't the issue that it's like we don't
before they found the one in West Virginia? Sorry, so it's the second largest now.
Another one that we have, yeah.
Isn't the issue is like we just haven't invested in the infrastructure to because you have to like sift through a bunch of material.
And that's what always had me like very skeptical of our war machine and our posturing with China when people would be like, well, if they take Taiwan, we have to go to war with them because there's no other way to make these superconducting chips. And it's like, is it impossible for us to make a new factory in the next 10 years? Do we have to start World War III if China takes Taiwan? Or is it possible for us to kind of replicate that technology here in the States?
We've tried. We just can't do it. And I've actually talked about it on the pod before. So
we've talked about this before.
Rehashing too much. But yeah, like Matt, what you said,
topic though.
They're called rare earth minerals just because like you dig it up and it's like 4% of what you dig up. And the real magic is just sorting the dirt into appropriate piles for the most part.
Which you need tiny Asian hands for?
Yes.
The pygmies, man. If only we hadn't eradicated the pygmies of the jungle.
I bet there's some. I bet Australia has some they're not using.
They might, man. They absolutely might. But I personally am a big fan of the Pax Americana concept because one thing that's interesting to think about, if you look back 100 years, Argentina was once like, I think the fourth largest economy in the world. It used to be like considered like the ideal spot to go to behind America if you were coming over.
If you're a Nazi.
I was about to say, was that right after they imported some European ideology, or
yeah, when were they the fourth largest economy? Was it right around?
Because we noticed a little bit of boom in our private sector as well, right after 1945. We had some major rocket advancements for sure.
Holy shit, NASA's viable now.
It was pre-Kirchner reform, so like the 1914s, pre-World War I. Actually, they had some issues with debt in World War I that kind of set things off in like a bad direction. But like it used to be, there were multiple economies in this sphere that you would target if you were an immigrant coming from Europe. And Argentina was certainly much more viable if you spoke Spanish, for instance, or Italian as well. And so a good chunk of Spain and Italy and Portugal ended up immigrating down there. But now, pre-Malay, it was the place people were leaving. If you were a doctor in Argentina, you were desperately trying to find your way out into a visa up until the last like 3 or 4 years. And, having him turn that into a better place, it's great. It's now there's like, hey, there's one good Spanish speaking country you can go to, El Salvador. And now we have the El Salvadorans that are here, unless they've, created a life for themselves and they're happy. Now it's like, oh, I can go back home if I want to, which they previously couldn't. And it'd be interesting to see so many other countries because like my family's from Jamaica, for instance, and Jamaica has always been kind of a mess. The current president's actually pretty cool. The only downside is a lot of their investments coming from China right now be nice if the U.S. was involved. But like so many people in my family often say, like we're going to move back to Jamaica eventually when we retire. But like the truth is, Jamaica's a shithole. Like no,
if they
no
get
one's
together,
and no one's moving back.
Man, what a bad like thing to forget, to like move back to a country in your retirement, your golden years when you're too old to like physically change your environment dramatically, and to get back and then realize like, oh yeah, the infrastructure fucking sucks here. Shit,
Yeah.
I'm too old to deal with bad infrastructure. I got soft in a first world country living in a nice cushy apartment with AC. What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's a weird conversation, you know. My mom wanted to go back, but then she's like, "Oh, well, I think I'm going to stay here just in case I need to use a hospital."
Oh man, that's hilarious! What a great framing for that.
It is, and I'd say a lot of places in the Caribbean, Central and South America are kind of like that, and it's a big problem. And you know, a good chunk of that is just due to criminal gangs. Like Jamaica, when Britain stopped being like the colonial power in Jamaica, is 1964, and Jamaica was a nice place. Again, it was actually a fairly large economy in the Caribbean. It was like one of the largest export ports in the Caribbean. The goal was to turn it into Singapore, but that did not happen at all.
Too many
But
black
like,
people.
it was nice in the 60s. Even with black people, it was nice in the 60s. You know, they had decent vibes. I mean, the main issue was just that between communism and becoming like a stop on a drug smuggling route, it just kind of descended into a lot of violence that previously wasn't there. And, you know, a lot of the infrastructure that would have formed just did not form. Like, there used to be a point when a Jamaican dollar was worth $1 US. Now it's 150 Jamaican dollars is $1 US. And it was 60 when I was a kid. Like, it's constantly just going in the other direction just because, like, it's impossible to develop infrastructure there, which is why I like the new president so much. But I'm getting off topic because there's a bunch of other countries as well that would benefit from this as well. And, like, you know, a lot of our issues with migrants at the southern border, I would imagine like 85% of it could be solved by just like making Guatemala livable. And I don't mean spending a lot of US dollars developing infrastructure, but just kind of like removing the incentive for, you know, gangs to be controlling them as drug trafficking alleyways. And the USAID could have been so much cooler than it was, you know? Instead of just, you know, fomenting weird color revolutions in Egypt and trying to turn Pakistanis gay. Imagine if we were just overthrowing actual dictators until we had like functioning market economies in countries around the world.
In our hemisphere.
Yeah, or in our hemisphere. I don't think anyone would complain if USAID fixed Haiti for real. Like, I mean,
really good point.
You'd probably praise it. Yeah, if they did it economically without any troops on the ground.
Or if they had to use troops, so what? But
I'm just saying, especially if they turned an economy around and turned a country from a shithole to like a viable place for immigration to go, we'd all probably be struggling to find our libertarian angle on USAID, you know?
It'd be very difficult.
You'd be like, sure, that's pretty good.
Like, imagine if we got Acapulco back, because it used to be Acapulco in Mexico was like a nice destination for people to go to. And then the cartels took it over and they still have it. Like, imagine if USA just gave us Acapulco through, I don't know, pamphlets or re-education or some nonsense, making the cartels LGBT
That's
friendly.
definitely maybe one of the hiccups I see in this is like your theory of blowback. And I know gangs aren't exactly like family groups necessarily, but if you think of them a lot like this terrorist blowback idea, like the potential failure of that is if you wash all the way down to southern Chile and Argentina, and you go clean every military aged man out of there that's gang affiliated, but you don't provide that infrastructure as well, and they just kind of leave the void for the next gangsters. I mean, how many of those guys, kiddos, grow up angry at the U.S.? Or I guess even the ones that aren't gang affiliated would probably be the more dangerous ones, because those are the ones more likely to be kind of radicalized towards a terroristic sort of perspective. Whereas the people filling the gang roles are just trying to grasp power in their region. But and who's, you know, not to say that there's no benefit to, like, if you kill every adult gangster right now and you have to wait 20 years for new adult gangsters, that's still like
20 years apiece.
20 years apiece. But no, you do make a good point, Logan. It's why
For
USAID
sure.
would have been so valuable if it functioned correctly. Because one of the nice things about El Salvador is we got both. You know, one, every single gang ever. And two, he's also building infrastructure as well in the country. And so, for the most part, any sort of blowback that might have happened is just kind of totally overwhelmed by all of the people who are absolutely in love with being able to go outside again.
Maybe this is another dual problem thing of like, let's just funnel a bunch of money to that young man and let him become the dictator in South America they're all afraid of. And then we have our new Hitler for World War III, which is when America always comes out more powerful, is after a world war.
There's something to it. I also wonder too, though, about the concept of like, I don't know if the math of insurgency might apply in this situation, because I wonder how, and this I'm thinking out loud, but how many people are actually like in support of the cartel and their movement versus like, I do this only so I don't get my head chopped off, versus because I don't know if you have like an ideological or religious undertone to the cartel. I think it's more of just like, this is the way I can keep my head today, and I would like to keep my head attached to my body, so I'll play along. I wonder if you remove the or like if you seriously damage the cartel, how much of the local population wouldn't be like, well, let's throw our support behind the cartel, this organization that's been terrorizing us and making our life really hard for the last 20 years, where it's like, yeah, long live the liberators. More drone strikes, please, America.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be black and white like that, though. You can still simultaneously hate the cartels that were removed and see this new force as an oppressive force.
Totally fair.
Especially when you think about the way soldiers, there's not one war that's ever happened where rape didn't coincide. So how many soldiers are just bad actors that are in a foreign country that are doing terrible thing to people's families? And how many of these countries become failed states because the infrastructure is not ready, and you drop it into a new civil war amongst the lesser drug cartels or the new drug cartels, and it becomes a failed state, and people become radicalized that way. But again, just spitballing back.
No, that's totally fair. And I guess one of the questions, though, that's interesting, one of the things to think about that's interesting about this question is reimagining how it could be, right? We all are fully aware of how American history has been, but what are the possibilities? Like, instead of, just showing up and wrecking somebody's country so you can increase the opium production, it's like you actually made those people's lives better. Instead of, or the destruction of Iraq so Halliburton can build it back. And you know what? Like, maybe if you did it right, maybe I have no problem with Halliburton making a fuck ton of money in the destruction and reconstruction of Iraq. Maybe you don't do the de-Baathification and fire all of the military, and they're like, hey, all of these weapons that we had stashed in the desert to fight the Iranians, I guess let's shoot at America. Like, sometimes I wonder, I like this conversation because it allows us to think optimistically about maybe what could have been the result of American foreign policy instead of these quagmires and shit shows that we got. It's like, oh no, maybe if we did something a little bit better. I mean, you can look at the Marshall Plan as a way that, West Germany is a really good example of it. Japan is a good example of it, where you roll in, you win, and then you rebuild it in your image and say, like, we want you to be a good partner in this. And, I think that those two things worked out pretty well for us. So I don't know, like, what if we imagine this not going the route of most of our interventions, but instead, like, let's cherry pick a few that support this idea. Like, what if we,
what's kind of interesting about all those examples that actually worked out too, is it all predates the CIA. Get the intelligence community in there fucking around with stuff.
All right.
Hairy all of a sudden.
Thanks for raining on my fucking parade.
Yeah. Well, you guys make both good points here. And like, obviously we can't like run away with the idea that this will solve everything. Cause the math of insurgency it's an interesting concept. Obviously every country is different and every situation is different. And a lot of it just depends on how we are seen and how we're viewed. So again, that's why I love the idea of USAID if done correctly, because you can foment a grassroots revolution within a country, put a candidate in there who actually has like some good ideas, and then step back and the people believe like, oh, this is our guy, we voted for him. Whereas if you show up and you just glass the place and then you put in your own little puppet regime that's supposed to be in charge, no one really views them as like, oh, those are our people, you know? And especially when you think about Afghanistan, you know, the Taliban was essentially like how they govern themselves. The borders of that country aren't real. There's a number of tribes there who view themselves as completely independent from each other. You know, we showed up, fought essentially what was their local defense force, and then brought a random college professor in and said, "You're the president now." A college professor from the U.S. just because he used to be from Afghanistan. You know, of course, there's like some crazy insurgency math that happens there, just because for the most part, like nobody really viewed the Taliban as that oppressive beforehand within the Afghanistan. There might have been 10%, 15% of people who felt oppressed. In much the same way in the U.S., there's a portion of people feel genuinely oppressed by the U.S. federal government. But for the most part, they viewed it as legitimate in the same way that it is viewed as legitimate now, whether they're putting goofy videos of themselves on roller skates on the internet or not, it's still viewed legitimately. And, you know, obviously in Mexico, they probably don't view the cartels in the same legitimate fashion. But, and, you know, this is probably part of the conversation in Venezuela, too, because, you know, you have Maduro out there saying, like, they bombed our guys, they killed our guys. And, like, I don't think Venezuelans actually view Tren de Aragua as our guys, but, like, obviously he wants them to.
Just because that's probably true for like the majority argument, but I don't know if you can say that for every person. I mean, I'm sure there are some people in Mexico who live in heavy cartel areas that have family are probably tied up in it, and their view of it is like, well, the cartel's done more for me than the government ever has.
Certainly,
or even maybe as far as what are you talking about? The government's run by this cartel anyway.
Yeah, and there are parts of Mexico where there is no local government, and the cartel is operating as a de facto local government. And they're offering a form of justice in the sense where you can bring grievances if you've been the victim of a crime, and they will enact a punishment on your behalf. They offer services. There's places where, like, the cartels, like the timber industry, you know, they're cutting down trees, loading them on trucks and exporting them for people, and they're paying people who work there. So, you know, they're doing some legitimate things. And so
that did enter my mind when you were talking about going down there and taking out the cartels and like replace it. It's like how many of those cartels view is not in a lot of people's minds correctly so. Well, what the fuck? You're just closing the door behind you a little bit as the U.S. government. Like, how many of you were just drug cartels when you fucking started this operation and eventually became big enough that you legitimized? In the same way, we're like, there's cartels who are trying to get in the avocado market because at some point
they're already in, brother.
They're in, dude. They're in.
But yeah, it's at some point you start grasping at legitimate markets because it's like, oh, we don't want to be illegitimate forever.
Because I mean, the tunnels aren't to smuggle drugs and people into the country. Like, the tunnels are there to smuggle cash out of the country. Like, that's their sole purpose, because they just send people over the board, you know, like they do that above ground, but the tunnels are there for getting cash out.
The tunnels are for protecting important things,
for sure. And no, it's a real thing. I mean, because there's no value of life there with but to your point, you're right. Like, we're all, you know, grasping for legitimacy, because I mean, I imagine that in England, when the American Revolution is, it's like I'm sure that there's like, oh well, these are just some tax dodging bootleggers, you know, that don't want to pay their proper tribute to the crown, and that's why you win the war, and that's why you especially develop the capability to drop sons on people, you know, because that legitimizes you a lot more than, you know, you can argue for legitimacy at the table, but that's the world of geopolitics, is that might is right. And if you want to sit at the table, you got to be able to fight your way to stay at the table. I don't know. It's of course, like, there's no foolproof plan, right? Like, there's no sort of comprehensive way that you could go about Pax Americana without blowback and these secondary and tertiary issues. But I guess the question is, like, if you could have 5 years of extreme violence and it made the Western Hemisphere better for the next 200, would you be willing, you know, is that an acceptable
Think about
trade-off?
The benefits to the climate.
Oh my God. If you were to put on your John Bolton hat for like a little bit and, you know, make your plan of like how you get to Iran by destabilizing Syria, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, but instead you were to do it for North America, like Mexico would be your Iran, and countries like Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Haiti would be like your Libya, Afghanistan, and Iraq
Egypt,
on the way
yep.
there. Like when we talk about dealing with like Mexican cartels, that's a big old Gordian knot, and it would require like complete buy-in from the Mexican government. Like we would not be able to replace them on the way in. But like Venezuela, I think is much easier. You know, they're not tied into really anyone
that's
in
what
this
you want to
sphere.
look at, and they have, to your point, a lot of infrastructure that's already been paid for. So
It all has to be rebuilt at this point.
Like a Haiti, you have to go in there and fix it, and then you have to build a lot of infrastructure to make.
No,
it
we leave Haiti to the Haitians.
They don't even have a president in Haiti, as far as I'm aware.
That's fine. They're a bunch of cannibals. Like we'll just write that. We'll write that one off. The good side of the island still preserved. The Dominican Republic is still standing. So we'll write that one off.
Just create a Haiti Rat King situation where you feed one enough humans that it's all he wants to eat.
Jesus,
put it back in the dinner pop.
It would be nice to see, though, because there's like a lot of instability here in our sphere that most of us kind of ignore. Like Peru has been having on and off coups for like the last like 4 years. I'm not sure if they even have a stable government at the moment. Obviously, there's Venezuela, Haiti, Nicaragua, I can't fucking speak. Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, they're all not very stable. Mexico, kind of a mess. I mean, there's a lot of, I'd say, low-hanging fruit in terms of like if we were able, and like it's funny because like a guy like Milei or a guy like Bukele, they should have been CIA plants. They should have been. And instead we had to wait for them to like elect one on their own. Like, what are we doing here?
That's so funny.
What are we doing? You'd think we'd be finding people like that left and right across countries and putting them forward. Like Bolsonaro in Brazil, he should have been a CIA plant. We shouldn't be letting our assets get stabbed at rallies and then arrested by their political opposition. It's kind of embarrassing. And, you know, Brazil is in BRICS, but like they're in our hemisphere. They should be rolling with us. They should be the big dogs down there. Imagine if Brazil and Argentina, like imagine if we just had the 1900s again, minus all of the labor revolutions and the bombings.
All those damn anarchists and their bombings.
There were a lot of competitive economies down there. I'd like for that to be the case again. And I'd like for our border not to be a place people are escaping their problems to, and instead a place where people are chasing their dreams to, for the most part.
Well, so it's
a great sentiment.
This is a really interesting point, though, because what you're talking about is essentially what Kamala Harris tried to play off as she was like, I'm not the border czar. I was sent to find the underlying causes of immigration. And what you're talking about is essentially this. It's like fixing why these people do not want to live in their country. But instead of getting anything intelligent, we got, the word soup salad, which is definitely like, it is a soup salad because she mixed it all together. And it's, is it soup? Is it salad? We don't know. It's Kamala Harris. But that's what, in essence, that she, it's the same idea. Like, how do we create a Pax Americana? How do we make where Nicaraguans want to stay in Nicaragua or Panama or whatever country that all of this immigration is originating from? I think it's a worthy endeavor. I mean, this is, at a certain point, I'm a very pragmatic person when it comes to politics. You're not going to stop massive overtaxation and federal spending of Americans, and the government's going to keep on rolling. So if they're going to keep on doing that, because I can't, it's like, cool, I cannot pay my taxes and then get in a shootout with the IRS, or you know what I mean? It's like, that's not going to change a damn fucking thing. So if the beast is going to continue to roll until some sort of massive sentiment changes the course of our government, I would much rather them spend the money that they've already stolen from us in a way that actually does benefit us, because
this is back to your fascist tendencies, which there is an interesting argument there, though. I kind of like that framing of like, if it's impossible to reach this non-violent, non-interventionist worldview that we have, and we've already given up 40-50% of our money to the tax machine, depending on where you live, then why not reform the world in your, the next best thing would be to reform the entire world in your image. But, then that's how you get everybody turned against you as an Adolf Hitler type of character.
Yeah, that's fair. But also in this, like, I don't know, maybe we run back the camps, maybe we don't. I don't know. I haven't got that far in this, in the thinking of this, but I feel like it's
maybe
much.
We could subtly
I would much rather
them all
have
to
you
fix
as
their own shit by only immigrating women who are 7s and above.
Oh, dude,
start absorbing all the hotties.
Dude, imagine how quickly they'd fix their country if, like, every day we don't fix the tax problem, we're losing another 8.
Another baddies moving to America.
Americans.
A fucked up fat white guy for the rest of your life.
Oh, dude, and you want to talk? But I think the real result of that is, like, you want to see, like, liberal white women are already one of the most volatile and dangerous groups.
Talking about a policy,
dude. You want to talk about, dude? You radicalizing a group, dude. Liberal white women will be forming their own version of the SS against Latina baddies. It's like, dude, white women against fat booty Latinas. That's gonna
be a much sexier Anne Frank story.
Showing up on our shores would infuriate them.
the Anna Francoises.
It'd be so nice to have the tables turn and just be like, "Oh, I'm just such a bleeding heart liberal. I care so much.
I care."
I thought you wanted me to be nicer to immigrants just because I allowed 7 of these women to come live in our garage.
Bring us your busty, your unclothed.
Give us your thick.
Hey, we could put a new Statue of Liberty in the Gulf of America.
Give us your thin and hippie immigrants.
Reopen the Galveston port for one purpose.
See, this is why we are so much smarter than people give us credit for. We are out here throwing out real world solutions to the very real problems that plague this globe.
It's been 2 hours. We shipped all of our black people to the Middle East and brought every hottie from South America into the U.S.
Sounds great.
New policy decisions.
It's a populist movement if I've ever heard of one.
Dude, we're out here solving problems.
Where's my Nobel Prize, dude? What's going on?
For real. I'm gonna clip this and send this video to the Nobel Committee and be like, we deserve a peace prize. Okay.
I thought you were about to say get me fired. I didn't think I was where it's going when you said clip this episode. My blood ran cold for a second. Like, oh no!
I'll get you fired. That's mean. That's mean. I have no incentive to get you fired. That sucks. But I'm going to nominate us for a Nobel. Dude, if Obama can get a Nobel Peace Prize for literally just being elected the first black president and then continuing to bomb and increase the bombings and expand George Bush's wars from like 5 to 11, then we deserve at least a look by the committee. I'm not saying that we deserve the Nobel Peace, but we deserve at least a second glance. They deserve to take us seriously.
Maybe we need to play the long game.
Enact universal basic immigration of baddies.
Dude, let's go.
I'm into it.
That's
every
what's
boy
up,
gets a baddie.
Dude,
maybe the long game here is we just need to find our way into Barron's podcast rotation so that we can become part of the cabinet in 16-ish years or whatever that is.
Yeah, low key, just keep DMing him this.
Dude, right? He'll listen one day, and you're like, when Lisa Nagaev ascends to the throne, dude, it's
now we're talking.
It's a real thing.
I will say one thing about the Pax Americana topic. I think the most likely thing that really is happening here is it's just like pure opportunism, just because like 2 of Venezuela's neighbors are 100% down to help. For most of the rest of South and Central America, that's probably just never going to happen.
That's how we took all the natives out the first time. We found all the disgruntled natives around them. We teamed them up.
And we gave them guns and smallpox.
That's what the Aztecs get for all those sacrifices, man.
That's right.
It's true.
Did you need that much rain? You know?
Now you're just being greedy.
was
You
already
live
a
in
jungle.
the rainforest. Yeah,
It's already a jungle. You live in a rainforest, asshole.
now you're just being greedy.
It literally rains at 2 p.m. every single day, and they're like, it's not enough.
Yeah, because we cut that guy's heart off on the top of that pyramid. That's why.
The gods have forsaken
Do you
us.
even
It hasn't
know
rained
science?
in 2 days.
Look, we're just building up our bankroll just in case we run out of sacrificees. You don't know what the future might hold.
It's
I
true.
wonder
Dude,
what that
you
was
gotta
like
have...
to be in those cattle pens, and the day it doesn't rain, you're like, fuck me, dude.
But here it comes. That is,
Jesus Christ.
I mean, this all ties in, but people that argue that like the West, the Spanish showing up and it was such a horrible thing. It's, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't such a bad thing that the Spanish showed up and stopped, getting a bunch of people's hearts cut out because they were upset about the amount of rain. Like that's not, I don't think that's a net negative on the world. And I understand that you get a lot of really, you get a lot of rape
No,
with
they
that.
did rape a lot of the locals.
I was going to say, you get a lot
worshiping
too.
the wrong gods after that, but
For sure, you get a lot of. I'm not saying this perfect. I'm not even saying this good. However, we have to pick our poison. This is the problem with politics: is that so many people hold the ideals, and they refuse to accept the political reality of the practical. And I don't know. I don't think that it's a net negative that a bunch of children stop getting their hearts ripped out, because it didn't rain enough. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the world.
I want to share my screen really quick because it's kind of funny. It like ties into what you were saying. So this was believed to be a myth for like a long time. Like the Spanish came back and they're like, yeah, the Aztecs were constructing these towers of skulls of human sacrifices, and almost every single academic for the last like 500 years has been like, look, the Spanish were just making things up about their political opponents. But they recently unearthed it in Mexico City. I'm curious if we're gonna have a picture, but the Smithsonian was forced to run this story. Yeah, it's just a tower of skulls. It's several stories high. It's all people who were sacrificed under one single king. Yeah, 119 skulls. It was built in the late 15th century. I love it. I love it. I love it. But
Yeah,
I just had to share it real quick.
No, I mean,
just because there were stories about the Aztecs, and for the most part, most I would say liberal historians have just never wanted to believe any of it was true. But it's turning out to be that like almost everything the Spanish said about the Aztecs was just basic factual observations for the most part.
I mean, it makes sense. It's the same that we get the same story up here in America where everyone's like, oh, they were so peaceful. And it's like, yeah, because the Comanche weren't just like scalping other natives
to be
this
fair,
entire time.
the Comanche were the bitches back then.
Okay, cool.
It wasn't until they got the horses that they fucked everybody else up.
All right, fair. Well, then they start raping and scalping.
Yeah,
cool.
We unleashed the plague of the Comanches on the rest of the natives by giving them horses and creating North American Mongolians, essentially, in our modern steppe. And they were like, holy fuck, what did you guys do? Why would you give the Comanches that?
Okay, that's totally fair. But I guess the sentiment is that this place was so peaceful, and that all of these, that they weren't taking land and hunting grounds from each other, and they weren't taking their women and raping them and saying like, oh, we killed all the men and you're now ours. Like, it's such a weird sentiment.
Beautiful, naturalistic word of mouth storytelling, like about the Veracocha, where they trapped them all in a cave and burned them out in Lovelock, Nevada.
Yeah, such a nice,
nice peaceful people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's, I don't know, it always bugs me when people try to whitewash. It's like, oh, they were the First Nations and they were just out here hanging out before colonial. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. They weren't doing anything. It was definitely the first Thanksgiving across the nation, and there was no war and there was no conflict whatsoever. And then the white man showed up and ruined it all.
You guys just had to have your tall buildings and your sparkling waters over here, huh? Couldn't leave well enough alone.
Right. Because think of how good there was. Wait, did you guys send that meme about the like Europe extracting all the wealth from Africa.
I've seen that one at least. I don't know if I sent it.
I don't think it was me.
Oh, was that on the? Oh, maybe it might.
The tree going over the wall with the Europeans plucking the coconut.
It's just and they're essentially it's like we have to correct this, and the counter is cool. Like Africa has the tree, and they haven't figured out how to extract it, and so like the Europeans can, it's like you guys need to learn how to climb the fucking tree. Stop blaming us that we figured out how to get coconuts.
I think the point I saw on the end of it was them pointing out how many like gigantic food programs have sent food to Europe, Africa, and they're like, really? Is that what it is? It's not that we're sending fuck tons of food every year to Africa.
I did.
Yeah, it is quite a different reality. I have one last question for y'all, but I don't want to interrupt y'all if y'all are on a riff.
I was just gonna say I saw this other meme where it was talking about the global, like the real wall needs to be between the global north and the global south. That like Trump's wall isn't enough, that we need to just pretty much run it from Mexico, use the Mediterranean as the buffer that it is, because what separates civilization from animals, the Mediterranean.
I was just about to ask if we could take a turn north at Turkey, but you already took care of that. Go on.
Well, we're gonna have to put the wall on the east side of Constantinople. We'll keep that for ourselves.
We're gonna take that back. All right, it's our city. All right,
well, we're not calling it Istanbul.
No more goddamn Istanbul. It's Constantinople. All right,
you have to put your shoes on inside the Hagia Sophia.
But that's all I had. It's like we should build, like the wall's not big enough is essentially the sentiment.
All right. Well, I have one last question. You guys can either answer it seriously or in a joking manner, whatever works. So let's pretend that like this Pax Americana thing is foolproof. It'll work perfectly. Nothing bad's ever going to happen. Pick one country in the Western Hemisphere to fix and tell me what would change and why it would be better. And maybe like give me an if you think like, oh, we could turn Cuba into Singapore or something. Something like that. I'm just curious what y'all think. And if you don't have an answer, I can go first just to give y'all some time to think. Totally up to y'all.
I have mine.
I would probably select Brazil just for the massive amounts of rainforest it has, as somebody who would really like to get some stable nations so we can do some real archaeology on all the stuff that tickles my balls the most about ancient cultures deep in those jungles with all the LiDAR stuff that's uncovering. I might have to do some more research to figure out exactly what spot I would want to target as far as potentially pre-Diluvian cultures that I want us to look into. But my knee-jerk reaction would be probably Brazil, just because it's got the largest amount of that fucking Amazon forest down there.
Oh, that's a
I like that. That's good. That's a good answer for sure. It's better than mine. Mine's Mexico. I have like James K. Polk imperialism dreams where
you still see that border, huh?
For sure. I look at that map every time and I imagine the world that we could have versus the world that we have, and it's like, damn. That's the I want the James K. Polk America.
Man,
I want that.
If you took it down to that Panama Canal, it would be a lot easier to control your immigration over land.
Oh, for sure. It's just like this funnel. All you have to do is set up like three companies with machine guns, and just like you guys can't cross.
Next. What's Spanish for next?
Okay, we don't. If you don't know what we're talking about, you're not allowed in.
You already didn't make it. Except for Sophia back there. You can come to the front of the
line. It's beautiful, is it not?
That's a good look in America. That's a damn nice. Good look in America.
Could have a couple buffer states down there, man. It'd be beautiful.
You know,
a bit more space.
I missed the funny answer would have been, we could have just cleaned out Canada. Can we go north and fix that?
Oh, that was 100% going to be my answer.
Stepped on it. Shit.
That's it. Wait, totally how have they not caught any crossfire this entire episode? We've been focusing on the Browns this whole time, and
I am
like
Toronto
out of all exists.
I'm definitely the most annoyed by Canada.
Bro, for real.
They're in my feet a little too much. I'm tired of hearing.
Two's my word, Broski.
I don't even mind.
Shit straight girl.
Oh, desk. Waste you.
That's not even the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about all the fucking what's the conservative one? I just had him pulled up on my screen. Steven Crowder.
Oh,
Get the
Is
fuck
he
back to
Canadian?
Canada. Yeah, he's Canadian.
Oh yeah, that is annoying. 'Cause it's like,
Rifting right-wing politics in America. Go fuck
like,
off.
you're
to Canada.
conservative. Your country could use some help in that direction. Why are you talking about us? We don't care.
wait,
I'm not really
Steven
interested in
Crowder's
any right-wing Canadian.
I
I didn't know
believe
he
Canadian?
was Canadian.
I'm
I had
pretty
no
sure.
idea.
what the fuck
Somebody
is
fact
ICE
check me on that.
doing?
Honestly, for real.
Like this is there's somebody that I won't say any names, but there's somebody that lives in this community that I was very disappointed to find out that they're actually an American citizen because originally they're from Canada, and I was about to start sending in a flood of tips to try to get this this dude deported because he sucks that bad. I was like, I want to see you gone, but he's an American citizen. There's nothing I could do.
Fair enough. I just looked up Crowder. It's interesting. His whole family is Canadian, but he was born in Detroit, the anchor baby, and then moved back when he was 3.
Yeah, gross.
but he
Already
moved
over it.
to the
Even
US
worse.
at 18. So
Even
I
worse.
Guess, I guess he has to be American, but like this
He's-
is the kind of thing we can't let happen again.
But he's out there grifting, and you're an anchor baby. What?
Sometimes the system fails us, Bobby.
What?
Yeah. Who knows?
Hold, dude. See, I don't know. I'm gonna need some help from you guys
Oh, holy
because
shit.
I need to run for I have to run for president. In day
Come back
one,
around.
all of these executive orders, like dude, the Kobe River, Steven Crowder's definitely, if he's still in this country, I'm executive order
Revoke
like,
citizenship.
for sure. Like I'm going after him day one. Like on TV, it's like Steven Crowder is public enemy number 1 behind like Islamist jihad and all of these other problems that need to be solved. But first,
And
we
you're
have
no
to
longer
clean up our own house before we.
executive order. You're no longer allowed to have a foreign accent and talk on American news stations
Yep,
as a
agreed.
host. At least you can be a guest. You can be a guest.
Yeah, you can be.
I don't want to
guest,
hear
it's fine.
Trevor fucking Noah ever again. I am including
Well, for
comedy
real.
ones as well.
Oh,
Also
absolutely,
real news, but also comedy news.
for sure. Agreed.
I
Trevor
never
Noah-
want to see John Oliver's face again.
Nope, deported. If he's lucky, if he's lucky, because there
You
will
could
probably
put him
be
in a
camps.
concentration hospital.
I'm about to say, yeah, there will definitely be camps. Sorry,
You know, there's
State
Crowder
hospitals.
there. I can't really think of any other example of a right-leaning, influential. I guess you got your Pierce Morgans of the world, don't you?
Yeah, and then there's
they all-
what's her face? Lauren Southern. She was Canadian.
I don't remember that one.
Wait,
Blank on her.
was it
Yeah.
that annoying blonde chick?
Yeah, she was blonde. She did like a thing about like.
Oh, she was on the
Mediterranean-
Blaze for a while.
Was
Laura
she?
Southern sounds like a name you would give your undercover Canadian agent.
Anchor
to
baby,
infiltrate America.
Yeah. No, she's from the South. I swear.
Probably just call
Her
her
name's Southern.
Lauren White. You know?
She's pretty cute. She's pushing the 7 on
Let
the
me
scale
see.
of allowable
Post-
immigration.
Post it up.
Yeah, share screen. Show us what you're looking at.
Share
brother.
screen. We'll military tribunal this shit.
Like she's all right. It's just
She's
I
not
don't
my
know.
type. She's very middle of the road blonde chick.
So
but she's pretty.
yeah,
attractive.
that's fine. How annoying is she though? Because she's not so attractive that if she has really bad annoying takes, straight to the camp.
Well, looking at this picture I just
some of
clicked
the
on,
takes
that's a
were
woman with some
all right
annoying
in the
takes.
2010s, but it was mid. It was just kind of mid.
Oh, here we got a little skin showing.
But she's
It's
not.
actually the
she-
least attractive picture, honestly.
She's not attractive enough to have like horrible takes though. So if she's got really bad takes, to the camp with Steven
Yeah.
Crowder, she
I
can.
would
They can be
say-
You know what?
celebrated.
You're right.
out.
If it was Colombian, I'd let it pass. But the fact that it's Canadian, she got to go back.
They
Yeah,
don't get
that's-
the same pass. Like
They're my number one target for Pax Americana. Like, imagine if we actually had a genuine, like, oil producing Goliath above us with a decent navy and some decent ports.
oh my goodness,
Like, what are they
A
doing?
decent navy. Is it so
Right?
much to ask that a country with that much goddamn coastline has more than 12 fucking frigates?
They haven't even built decent ports, man. They have no oil exporting ports, like export capability. They
They're
have
really
to
jelling
send
us
all of their
out.
oil to us for us to refine and then ship out on their behalf.
See,
What cucks? What cucks?
dude, you're
Imagine if
totally
they're
right.
independent. Imagine.
And King of the, Hank Hill said America's been taking care of Canada ever since England stopped. So
For real, Canada always needs a dad. They
Damn.
can't just be on their own.
How did how did we not throw some more shade at them? I've been focusing south this whole time, but yeah, first and foremost, Canada
framing. And Kiefer almost made it to the very end where he got to do the big reveal. Unfortunately, we stepped on it
it's all good.
At the end, but he gave us the look at the left hand the whole episode while he was holding Canada in his back pocket.
100%. I even told you you could be serious or you could be funny.
Oh, but seriously, Canada, we need to do something about them.
Yeah, and their border is open too. They had unlimited visa program for guest workers. Their youth unemployment's 28% or something insane right now. And now the country is just full of Indian people. It's come on, guys. If you're going to open the borders, it's hard body eights only.
Canada would be the most easy to assimilate too. And especially if we left out the French part, let's just go take the non-French Canada and make it.
Dude, I don't even want voting in our elections. I can't risk it.
That's fair. All right. You're right.
So the real question is Manifest Destiny 2.0.
I do have to say one thing about Canada. You guys should look this up if you're curious. Alberta and Saskatchewan are pushing to secede. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to have a referendum on it next year. Some of them were talking about joining America, and I would 100% be okay with that. Yeah,
the oil-rich countryside. Yeah.
I
welcome the oil-rich white people of Canada.
Yeah,
welcome to America. You belong. One of us.
That would
oil producers.
Your glass half empty part of that though is the inevitable future when the entire economy of Canada has become American, and now we have to have the insufferable French migrational flight. French-speaking Canadians trying to sneak into our country.
Ooh.
We'll just tell them that Louisiana is a paradise for people that speak French. We'll confuse them and confound them.
It worked once. Why not twice?
To the Gatus.
He's going to show up and marry a prostitute, and we'll give you land.
Something tells me Louisiana French speakers would eat Canadian French speakers alive.
Yeah. One of my friends actually married a French Canadian who came down here and got his green card through
one
her.
of your gay friends. Oh, female.
He's actually really cool, but he would not stand a chance against any Cajun whatsoever.
I just like the idea of what they're sold, the promise that they're sold. It's come to New Orleans, we'll give you a patch of land. It's it's actually just a row house in the 9th Ward, but
it is.
But is land.
How do you say paradise in French?
I believe it's pronounced 9th Ward.
I think the French are too cynical to have a word for paradise.
Damn. Might be right.
They seem intent on not having a good time. In fact, Cajuns are the only, and I would say Cajuns maybe even separate from French. But I have a thing where people who speak French as their first language just are determined to be upset with their own lives. I feel like they're just not happy.
The self-loathing
the inherent quality of the language itself.
It's true. It's we have such a pretty language and we make good cheese and we hate ourselves so much. They're fucking obnoxious. But here's I guess once again on the topic at hand, all of this is going to require some uncomfortable decisions, and maybe there's not enough state hospitals to do what we need to do. Maybe maybe we just gotta run it back. Because what do we do about Toronto? First and foremost, you can't assimilate that. You can't save that city.
Possible.
You can't save the city. The city is a net. It's.
They created the worst cultural soup known to man.
We have to get rid of the city. There's no and everybody, and I'm sure there's some good Canadians, if there is such a thing, in the city, but I think we're just gonna have to like El Salvador prison that shit. It's like, yeah, I'm sure there's some innocent people locked up in here, but you're from Toronto, and we can't take the risk of you like being out in polite society.
Instead of gang tattoos, it's going to have to be youths wearing black puffer jackets who say the word Kroski.
Oh, dude. all we have to, it's like, I just imagine like the roundup. You just go to the mall and just listen to Brampton Bra, Brampton Krusky, two's my word, fam. It's like, nope, straight to fucking jail.
Maybe there's a more statecrafty Mossad type of way to handle this, where you like instead of beepers, you sell some sort of highly flammable puffers for a generation.
Highly flammable.
Hell yeah!
Some maybe a Drake final concert, right? In the middle of Toronto.
Yes, let's go, let's go, yes.
You take down the house like the final tune in Inglourious Bastards.
Dude, let's go. Logan's coming out with some fucking heaters tonight, dude. Yes. Oh, and this is the best thing is we don't only get Canadians. We get all of these trash ass Americans that we don't even want part of our country in the future. It's a win, dude. Yes, let's go. Flammable puffers at the Drake final concert. Yes, Logan.
Farewell tour.
Yes. Oh, hell yeah. I am so pumped right now. I am so fired up.
I'm a big picture kind of guy, you know?
Ooh, holy shit, dude. New Liberia on the Kobe, the Drake final concert, flammable puffers. Bro.
It's not a good shooting night, you know?
Ooh. Yes.
As good as it gets, man.
I'm so into this. Hell yeah.
I should have known I could win Matt over just by bringing up any kind of situation where Drake dies as well.
A tragic collateral.
Yeah, I am a big hater. Probably too much. It probably blinds me to some decent tracks he may or may not have made, but I'll never know. Because just anyways. Do we have time for Ethno Guesser, or do we need to wrap up?
I have bad news. I have to get up at 5 a.m. So this is going to be the end of me, but don't let that stop you guys from playing Ethno Guesser.
Okay.
Respectable. Well, in that case,
fair.
I hope you have a nice night and wake up feeling refreshed.
Absolutely.
Ready to populate the Kobe.
Okay. I'm gonna leave
Logan. Dude, that's like what a good little sign off. It's like may your loins be plentiful and populate the Kobe.
Oh man, that was probably one of the best ideas ever. Renaming the Jordan.
That is some top tier shit, dude. Good look, dude. Logan came out swinging tonight. God bless that man. That man sees the big picture. He has a place in my administration for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Probably Secretary of State. I mean, realistically,
it's actually the right move for his talents if we think about it.
For sure, we need to unleash him. He needs to go and sit down with Israel and their detachment and be like, no.
Yeah, I love it, man.
The Kobe. And it's like, no, sure it's the Jordan. It's a sacred river. And it's like, yeah, Kobe's a sacred basketball player.
Like,
and we love him.
We can call it the LeBron then if it's a big deal. Oh man. Well, are you ready for a racial guesser?
I am. Can I need to go pee real quick.
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Yeah, I need a few seconds, but I am
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
down.
I'll hold down the fort.
The nostrils just don't look right. It's so funny that Logan was so quick on that. He's just like, nah,
It was
one
like
of
the
these
first
is
thing he said.
he was like, that's
He
one of
told
these is
me
not
it.
like the other. I was like, nah, that's not the same black guy. All right, I've studied my sub-Saharan
It was
lineage, and
fantastic. That's what this training is all about, man.
dude, yes. All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Well, for anyone who happens to be watching, the episode is basically over. We're just going to play Ethno Guesser from here on out. We are not going to talk about really anything of any consequence whatsoever. If you want to watch us play Ethno Guesser, you're more than welcome. It's our favorite thing to do to end these episodes. But don't watch with an expectation that something else might happen related to politics or the news, because it won't. It won't at all. But Ethno Guesser is fantastic. It's probably the best game. Any one of you out there should be playing it for the express reason of just becoming better at being a racist. And I don't mean a racist in like the boring way where you're like, oh, they shouldn't drive. But I mean like racist in the fun way where, you know, you can walk up to a group and play Spot the Eritrean among your friends. It's an impressive talent. They're going to love it, and they're not going to understand it either. They're going to ask you if you had a bunch of friends who were from the Nilotic Valley of Ethiopia, and you'll say no. You just you stayed at a Holiday Inn. But no, it's like the best skill ever. Personally, I happened to be at a birthday party over the weekend with a bunch of people from the Caribbean, and one of them was Indian Caribbean, and I was able to deduce which one. And you might think like, oh, that's easy. Indians and black people, they look different. But not in the Caribbean. Indian people came to the Caribbean like 200 years ago as part of like indentured servants. And a lot of them like interbred with black people. So you'll get people who are like half Indian, half black, but they all have like a Jamaican skin tone because they've been under the same sun their whole life. And the only real way to tell them apart is by the hairline, sometimes by the texture of the hair, but not always, because there's a bunch of other races mixed in with black people in Jamaica too. It's a Chinese population, etc. But yeah, it's hairline, eyes, and jaw, and I nailed it. Felt good. Didn't tell anyone how I trained. I just enjoyed it. I bathed in the light, but it's a lot of fun. And it is also surprising for people who don't know how many like Indian Caribbean people there are, or they're called Indo-Caribbean, spread between Panama and like all of the islands in the Caribbean. Funny little side note, when the British were sending like military regiments out to secure their colonies in the Caribbean, the casualty rate was over 100% in a year for most of these units. They had to just constantly send out people to replace them. It was the least interesting place you wanted to go if you were in like the British Marines or the British Navy or the British Army. It was the one place you did not want to be stationed just because of this. And then, here you are listening in. It even got to the point where they would recruit Germans to join, and they wouldn't tell them where they were going because they could not get British people to sign up to go to the Caribbean. So that's why there's a bunch of Indians in the Caribbean, because they were the easiest ones to bring over and get to survive as indentured servants.
It's a real thing. It's also it's also the same reason that they went to West Africa for slaves. It's not that it's just like, oh, these people know how to ride horses and they don't die very easy because we'd already killed off 95% of the indigenous population. So it's it had nothing to do against the locals. It's just they were already dead. So we need
absolutely. The indigenous in Jamaica were called the Arawak, and they all died a long time ago. They were bringing in West African slaves, but they had like a fairly high casualty rate as well. So around the time the British Empire like ended slavery, they wanted to move to indentured servants from India anyways. It ended up being more profitable, cheaper, and better than just black slaves, and they had a higher survival rate as well. So
it's a win-win.
Yeah, for real. Trinidad and Tobago is 25% Indian. St. Lucia is like 15%. Jamaica is only 10. But some of the other islands are up there at like a 25% as well. People
It's
are always
just
shocked to find
good
out.
business. That's all it is. Just
100%.
good business, man.
100%. Well, are you ready for number one?
I am.
Obviously we know these are white people. They're
For
definitely
sure. Have we got it's this region. It's like but hold up. I will say that like the wide cheeks,
yeah.
they definitely belong on the continent.
Yeah,
think
I
they're
almost
like
wanted to put them in like Belarus.
I think they're in like the Lithuania, Latvia, Belarus, Poland area. Like this. Can you see where my cursor is?
I can't see anything. I'm looking at the actual screen.
Oh,
You have
okay.
to you
No, I
just
would
have to
say
say it out loud and I'll figure it out.
yeah, I would say like the northeast corner of Poland, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia, that area is my guess. Or it might be like straight Ukrainian.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they're wherever the Volga River is, the one that goes like down that
What
has
you don't know where Stalingrad is?
Oh no.
Oh my god, bro.
I have no idea.
It's called
It's somewhere
Volgograd
down here.
now.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like these look like the kind of people who became Varangian guards. So I mean, it'd be maybe Ukraine, maybe Belarus, like somewhere.
Let's put him in
around here.
Belarus.
Okay, let's see what
It's
happens.
right in the middle.
All right. Oh Jesus Christ! It's the same. Oh, we got a full point. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, we should have just stuck with Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Fair enough. I thought they weren't blonde enough to be there, but okay, fair enough.
Those dirty Russians, their blood hasn't infiltrated that deep.
Yeah. Speaking of dirty, you know what to do here?
Damn, that's some wide nose. That's like
Yeah,
some.
they're definitely continental Africans.
Are we sure? Or
Yeah,
are
yeah, I
they
think
not?
so.
Are we sure that they're not some weird island that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm more and more sure. The islands are really like dark blue skin almost, and they have narrower noses. But like the continent, I think we get
All right.
broader noses. But
I
where
trust
in the
your.
continent?
No, I mean, this looks like. Yeah, I feel like if you could like to channel my inner like Belgian, it's there's some like Tootsie to these people, you know. If we're gonna preach against the broad noses that don't quite look like us, you know, like I think we're Congo, Rwanda. I think we're somewhere in that area.
That's fair. I was kind of leaning towards that as well, just because they looked like they'd be on the side that was getting genocided.
For sure.
All right, let's lock this in and see what happens.
I like it.
Oh, dude, we're so close. So close. I love this. So they're East Bambooted. Let's see which ones. I see no tribe that's either Tutu or Hutsi. Oh, damn, that was a really short description.
Well,
They're just the shortest pygmy type in the world with an extreme rainforest adaptation.
Oh, see, there's your pygmies for the. What didn't Logan need pygmies for something?
For sifting rare earth metals out of the dirt.
See, there we go.
Huh, interesting. You know, from the woman's face, she looks like she's definitely short, but the man's face, I wouldn't have guessed.
Oh, he's a short king. You can tell.
I really couldn't, dude. But you know, his face is kind of small. So, like
that's a short king for sure.
Kind of picking up on it. All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the next one. So far, we're looking pretty good.
I like it.
Oh,
the composition of clothes, where he has like a suit almost, makes me think that they're proper westernized Asians. So, I mean,
like French colonial holdings.
That or South Korea. Even.
Those are not Koreans, dude.
Yeah, am I just way off? Am I letting the suit?
Their skin's too dark. Yeah, you're letting the suit fool you, dude. Like, I think it's got to be South Asia somewhere here, Southeast Asia. Not so far over to be brown, but like this could be Thailand.
What about Singapore or Hong Kong?
So this is tough because I don't know if you're talking about
Singapore's like Chinese.
Yeah, but the Chinese aren't native to Singapore. They came over in the 1800s. I don't know what this map is going to do in terms of people who like arrived.
Oh, immigrate.
Because like before that, like Singapore was Malay, just kind of the same as like the rest
They're
of the
way
area.
too light to be Malay.
They're on the line. They could be. It's tough. I really want to put them up in Thailand though. Like it just feels right to me. And the suit especially speaks of like French colonial holdings. Like all of this old French colonial Asia, they all wear suits everywhere they can go.
Okay. I like
And
it.
she looks Thai. I could see that. Yeah, are you down with me overruling it and putting it here?
I am, for sure.
All right, let's see what happens.
Nice.
We almost got it, but ironically, Singapore would have gotten us the points if I had just been a bit more south as well. So, like, I guess a good chunk of Thailand would have counted, and this bit of Vietnam. But it really is like all of French colonial Asia.
This scoring is bullshit, bro.
Yeah, it does feel kind of shitty.
You know, it's
We're
like
an inch away from like the red line, and they're like, "Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
there's a river basin that separates these people ethnically." Yeah,
Dude,
it's like they didn't cross the river basin at any one time.
Also, their outline seems like it's just a little bit off. Like the outline shifted to the right from where it's supposed to be. You know, are we getting hurt by that? I wonder.
Oh yeah, that actually, because all of a sudden, a bunch of sea people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got screwed.
You can keep scrolling infinitely on this map, and like everything kind of like this map is different than this one for some reason. Like if I click on this one, it'll score me on this one instead of this.
Interesting.
So I wonder if let's do our next one on this map and see what happens.
I will say that. Did you also notice that Madagascar?
Wow,
would get us points.
That's kind of a shock. Okay. But also, like you were totally right about them being Malaysian. If we just clicked that, we would have totally gotten the points. So
I said they were too dark.
Oh, okay.
I said Singapore, but I didn't think they were Malay. Also, that says a lot about Africa that the fucking Asians conquered that island before you guys did. It's right off your coastline. You can probably see it from. You may actually not be able to see it from Africa. That's quite a long ways, to be fair.
I mean, if there's a mountain on the island and the day is clear, you might be able to see the mountaintop. Especially from over here. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a place where you should have been able to see it from. I don't know.
They have mountains in Africa.
Close. Yeah. There's some. I don't know if there's any on this part of the coast. I know you go further up, like
I like how there's also one little dot that's like right there in Kenya. That's like, oh yeah, they also ended up here too.
Yeah, if you click Somalia, you get full points. That does
right.
Who is doing that? Who knows this much about like this group that they're like, oh, I'm going to click on the dot in Somalia where they are.
The Geo Rain Bolts of EthnoGuesser.
One day that'll be me.
The people there, it's like, oh, that's Argentine grass.
Right. And you know, it's wild. Points in South Korea too. Very weird.
Shame on you.
Yeah. No, I shot down all of your 5,000 point guesses so I could overrule it. All right. Well,
we got chipped, bro.
Okay, so I'm gonna scroll over to the left map of Africa and see what happens if we score on this one.
I think West Africa.
Yeah, me too.
Chad, Cameroon.
I kind of want to put them in Cameroon, actually.
I like it. Do they look like marathon runners?
But Cameroon's not the marathon runner place.
No, I'm trying to like whittle out certain countries.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no.
Like they don't look Kenyan or Sudanese, so they're not marathon runners.
Yeah, they're definitely.
That looks like some good old American stock right there. You put that boy at free safety or wide receiver. That's going to tear up the defense.
I could see him going in the second round of the Ravens.
And Josh Allen just being extremely angry about the fact that he's.
Oh my God. It's Michael C. Jordan right here. Yeah, I feel like Cameroon's probably good, but I don't know. Mauritania has been getting us. It's gotten us twice so far.
Yeah, I like where we're at.
All right, you want to log it in and see?
Yeah, I like where we're at.
Oh, okay. It's we got full
Oh.
full points for it. It's just pure West African.
Huh.
Not bad.
Just good old Alabama, dude. Like that's a face that would be playing at Alabama. You know, like Nick Saban goes to that man's house when he's in high school, and
Oh,
says, "Ma'am, I think your boy's got something special. He should play at Alabama."
this description is hilarious. Physical traits:
Kinky
usually
hair.
dark, sometimes medium brown skin, kinky hair, medium height to rather tall, mesoscelic, endomorph to mesomorph, blah blah
What
blah blah
does
blah.
that mean?
It's like your natural body type.
Oh.
Mesomorph is more muscular. I forgot the other two, but it doesn't really matter. Lips are thick, wide face, round in females. Love it.
So they also apply for our immigration program.
Absolutely, man.
Give us your thick. You're unclothed.
Oh man, and this map is shifted too. I think it almost doesn't matter which map we vote on. I think they're all going to be shifted. So we're just going to have to deal with that.
Han Chinese or South Korea?
Yeah.
Are they Korean?
They could be. They have round faces. So I think that puts China or Korea as like our primary guesses here. I don't think we can go south. And I don't think these would be Japanese either. So it's kind of tough. Like I'd want to put them like kind of like right on the Yellow River to be safe.
Do they look like, if you were to put them in a theater in general's outfits, do they look North Korean?
Yes.
Looking like as they disgustingly watch K-pop from South Korea.
They do. But like this part of like the Yellow River, like the Han Chinese in North Korea, I can barely tell them apart. I know they can tell each other apart, but I just
Well, hey, dude, yellow on yellow crime.
that's tough. She looks Korean for sure, but he looks Han Chinese.
Potato.
All right. Well, are there any others we should be considering? Because I know I've been forcing it in here.
I mean, not that I'm aware of. My guess was Korean.
Okay. Yeah. Well, fair. Then we're.
Oh, do we put it right? Oh, it's not going to give us points if we put in the yellow sea.
Probably not. Yeah, I think we pick one here. What if we just put it in North Korea? See what happens.
Okay. I'm less confident now that you've locked it in. Now I feel like it's Chinese, but
on the Yellow River, is it change anything at all?
Yeah, I feel a little bit better about that. Oh.
Any of these changing your feeling?
Oh, sorry, I lost you for a second.
Oh, my bad. I was just clicking on different places and seeing if it changed how you felt.
Beijing or Seoul, either or. I'll leave it up to you.
I feel like no matter what, I'm going to pick wrong. So I'm going to put it in Seoul because my heart's telling me Beijing, and let's see what happens. Oh, these are Gobi Desert Chinese? Huh. Okay, weird. The desert steppes, southern Siberia, Huns, Avars, and Mongols. Yeah, that might have been why I thought she looked Korean. Mongolian women don't look Mongolian at all. But this guy having like a wide face makes sense for Mongolia, but still.
Mongolians. I mean, this is like, this map is bullshit, bro, because we should have gotten more points than we did because of the map shift.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Yeah, if we ended up in the red, would we get 5,000 points?
We should have gotten more.
Yeah, if so, then we 100%
should have gotten way more points than we did.
Weird. I'm going to leave a complaint later on once we're done. Oh, Jesus, dude. Where are you putting these? Are these gypsies or these Jews?
I was going to say, this looks like the dude looks like an anarchist bomber of the early
Uh-huh.
of
100%.
like that. Like I imagine that's what Gabriel Princip looks like. You know,
Probably pretty close, in all honesty, man.
like. But then again, like early Zionists are also like terrorists from Eastern Europe too. So we're actually talking about the same type of people.
Yeah, this is interesting, man. Because I think we either have the Middle East or we have some area of like Eastern Europe out here.
But she strikes me as more like Middle Eastern, like Lebanese to Cyprus over Eastern European.
Yeah, I tend to agree. That's why I ended up
He
going
strikes me
straight
as
to-
generic Slavic terrorist, you know.
Uh okay, the facial hair though is like an interesting throw. So like the facial hair composite doesn't have any hair on the high cheekbone at all. So I feel like they can't be like too Middle Eastern. Like Cyprus is actually a pretty good guess, I think, here if we're moving in this direction. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's got to be.
I mean, they're too. Like, are they too dark to be? But here's the thing: it's like the Turks did control a lot of the Balkans for a long time, and their damn dirty Turk blood got into the gene pool.
It did. It certainly did.
But she like, oh, part of me wants to say like maybe like North Macedonia or Albania, because you do get kind of
they make really good Albanians.
Yeah. Because you do
Honestly,
have like that Muslim influence in there. I like it. I like Albania.
I like that a lot too. It feels right. All right, let's see. Okay.
So they're just Jews, huh?
Assyroid, Semitics, of the Hittite kingdom. All right, if this is Hittite kingdom, I don't know how our guess was bad, and also I don't know how it's like, oh yeah, you got to put them in Poland, but then the rest of them are here in Syria. Doesn't make sense.
So I guess Cyprus or huh?
Weird. Okay, but also Ashkenazi Jews and some Syrians and Iranians. Well, you know what? I feel good that my very first.
So your Jew instinct. Colonel Hans Lando would be so proud of you, dude.
They call me the Jew hunter.
He would be so proud of you. Because I can think like a Jew.
See, that's funny then. So Ashkenazi Jews are this part of Europe or the Middle East. All right, that's a vibe. I like how
good job. Mike, you were right. I'm sorry I talked you into my bomb throwing Albanians.
No, it's okay. I actually view Albanians as very similar to Ashkenazi Jews. It was very easy to convince me there. All right, let's see what we got next. Okay. So definitely some sort of Turkic Middle Eastern, right?
Mm-hmm. Like,
I kind of want to put like East Turkey is my initial guess, or Iraq. What do you think?
Like northern Iraq, Iran, Eastern Turkey. They look like survivors of the Armenian genocide to a degree, you know?
Yeah, I'd say she does. And he looks like Assad. So it's
I think anywhere in like Eastern Turkey, Northern Syria, Iraq, Iran, I think all of those places are pretty solid.
All right. My vibe kind of wants to put him right here.
I like it.
All right, let's see. Let's see how this game screws us. Really? They're Libyan?
They're Egyptians.
Oh, this is tough. North African steppe types. Libyan Garamantes. Okay. So.
Boo.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, I guess we're both wrong there, but that's fine. Learn something new. These are all just North Africans. Let's see these composites again. You know, okay, he does have a tall face, which maybe we should have read that as being like desertoid. instead of. But then again, there's a desert out here too. So,
No, but they're not desert out there.
oh well. All right, I guess we've learned something new. All right, let's see this next one. Okay. Are these just British people or is this Denmark? What do you think?
Pre or post invasion?
Yeah, I guess I'm asking the same question, right? Maybe we could even put them in Sweden just to be safe.
They seem like hardy stock, like almost like that seems like a good Prussian. Like that looks like somebody that you'd want in your army. But it could also be somebody that occupied like Schleswig-Holstein, with that part of southern that used to be Denmark that Germany took around the same time.
It's possible. One thing I noticed is that the composite for the woman has blue eyes, which is wild. So we'd have to think about a population that has that many
Higher.
white eyes. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah,
this part would do what you're saying. Or sorry, this part would fit what I'm saying. So you're not wrong about this area that was taken from Denmark, like Lubeck and all these towns on the north coast.
I mean, those seem like hardy people, though. Like Stockholm, they seem like people that.
Or we could put them on the Isle of Visby just to be different.
Are they collaborators? Are they neutral?
She looks like she would have had her hair shaved after the Americans retook the town.
Had a Nazi or two in her day.
Very well might have.
I'd like, man.
I'm down with.
I would be okay with Northern Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Norway. I don't think they're quite Finnish.
Yeah, we saw Finnish last time, remember? And they were that weird. We thought they were in Siberia because they looked so goofy. But yeah, I tend to lean towards hereish, but I can put up in Sweden if you want.
Let's put it up in Sweden.
Okay. How does hereish?
That works.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, it would have worked either way. Nice. All right, these are I can't even pronounce that. Coarse Cro-Magniform Nordid variety of Central Northern Europe. Huh, interesting. I wonder if they have Neanderthal admixture, because they did have really strong brows, both of them.
For sure. All brave Prussians follow me.
Gray, blue, or mixed eyes. Interesting. Blah 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 blah.
Brow ridges.
Broad jaw. Yeah, strong brow ridge. Okay. Deep set with small eyes. All right, fair enough. Our average is looking pretty good, though. If we can keep this up, this might be our best score.
I like it.
Let's see this next one. I feel like these are the ones who have been like Mauritania, and they keep getting us, but I don't remember exactly what they look like. But they are both lighter skinned.
But they don't strike me as island people.
No, they're definitely not. This is definitely still mainland, but closer to North Africa, I think, just because they have narrower noses. They could even be like Chad or Niger or something like that.
Excuse me, what was that?
I'm using the common Latin phrase.
It's Niger.
No, keep that R on there.
Niger is what you're looking for.
Yeah, I really want to put them in Mauritania, but
do it. I'm down.
All right, this is where I would put them.
It's fine with me.
I'm just worried they're going to be like Ethiopian or something, because they could be West African or East African. The narrower noses.
Yeah, my guess is whatever that sand band is, that the Sahara Desert. I feel like you could find them anywhere along it. It wouldn't shock me if they were Niger or Chad. I don't feel like they're like Sudanese though.
I don't know. They could even be Sudanese, but like North Sudan.
Well, South Sudan's way too fucking black, so they're out of the picture.
Yeah. I feel like Mauritania is the only place we're going to get
like
them
it.
this night, though.
I like
let's
it.
see what happens. Oh, dude, yes, another bullseye.
Dude,
That
well,
feels good. Although
done.
Niger would have worked. We could have definitely gotten that. Algeria could have worked. So
Well
there are Saharan
done.
blacks mixed with Berbers, South Libya. Okay. All right. No, I feel good.
Well done.
We finally did it. And we're on question 10 of 10 now. And our average score is 3,700. And we got these people. And I've huge loss, dude. I don't even know.
Hold up. So
She looks Iranian, but I don't
Eastern. So let's see. Like, the question is, what are these people trying to sell us?
know.
That's the question. Like, are they trying to sell us carpets? Are they playing? What's the like? He looks like some. What's the 5-card Monty? on this, they don't. I think we can rule out Eastern Europe.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think these are European.
Unless they're just like straight up gypsies that ended up in Romania because nobody ever likes the gypsies. But I'm not convinced.
Gypsy, but I don't think he is.
So what's he trying to sell us? Because that's what.
For you, my friend, I have a deal. I really want to put him in Iran, like right up here.
Oh,
Like,
so he's selling us Aladdin rugs?
Yeah.
This one flies.
Like, I feel like he could be some sort of northern Iranian. You know, not too close to the hairy parts of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And not too close to the Gulf either, because they're also hairy.
But the faces, like the composite's pretty fat, right?
Yeah.
Like you get the second. So like, where are their?
That's a good point.
Where are their really well-fed?
Almost puts us in like Kuwait, Arabia, if they're going to be like.
Because the double chin's like the double chin's a giveaway that's a society of luxury.
Yeah, honestly, because like the last Europeans was like North Germany. They didn't have double chins. They've got money. So this, I really want to put it in Arabia just because of the double chin. But they don't look Arabian to me.
They don't look Arabian to me either.
Where else would you have money?
I mean,
to look like this.
Parts of Iran.
I don't know. I have no idea what things are like because they've been embargoed for like the last 2 decades almost.
Yeah, but so was the Soviet Union, and they were fat Soviets.
Yeah, but would they be fat enough for the whole composite to be like this?
Yeah, fair enough.
Because that is really tough. And it's only the dude composite that's like fat like that too, which is really telling.
Because I buy my wife 3 goats, good price.
Yeah, this is.
I think we're in the Middle East.
Me too.
What about Kuwait? Are they darker?
That's what I wanted to do, but yeah, they tend to be a little darker. But it's not impossible. Like Kuwait is, I think, on average, more fat than America is. And there's a possibility one could look like this from Kuwait.
What about? Because they don't give me like insurgency terrorist vibes.
Yeah, not at all.
Every revolutionary wants to retire.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the tough one.
It is, dude. I feel
did
nervous because our high score.
Okay, so what about like UAE or Qatar?
Mm,
Or
I think you
is
end
that
up.
too Arabian?
I think you end up with Arabian people here because like most of
Okay.
these areas. Uh, like this guy, if he had more facial hair, this would be the easiest thing in the world. We would have put it down here already. And she looks like she could be Iranian. This is tough, dude. So
What's he
if it's
trying to
me,
sell us?
uh, if it's me, even with the fat composite, I still kind of want to put it in North Iran. But if I think about the fat composite first, I think it's more of Kuwait and like this band.
Do they get that fat in the desert though? That part of Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia is also really fat as well. I think they have like a
Good for
45%
them.
obesity rate.
Good for them. It's nice
Yeah,
to have
these two
abundance
countries
of food.
they've passed the US in terms of being fat.
Hell yeah. It's good to have expendable calories.
You know who else is fat is like these Pacific Islanders as well out here. But obviously,
Oh, I don't get that vibe at all.
yeah, they can't be Pacific Islanders.
I don't get that vibe at all.
Yeah.
Like he looks like the sun. Like he looks like the fat son of like an oil magnet, you know?
Yeah, I could totally see that. Well, I mean, if that was the case, maybe we do just put it here on like the east coast of Saudi Arabia.
This is my son Ishmael. I could either go there or Iran. Either or. Iran.
Well, if I let the fat composite get me, then it's east coast of Saudi Arabia. If I don't,
where's your heart lead you?
Dude, my heart is scared. I want to have the best average score ever, and it's pointing in all the wrong directions. But if I just went with my instincts, I'd put it like right there.
But that one doesn't feel right.
If you were to put it in Iran, where would you put it?
I would probably put it up in northern, like around Tehran, somewhere in there.
So like that?
Oh, but that doesn't feel right either. I don't know. Holy shit. They hit us with a tough one.
This fat composite's really ruining us.
It's really throwing me off.
Because if it wasn't the fat composite, this would be my first guess as well.
Dude, but they're fat. And that has to be taken into consideration. I think your first I think we're down further south. I think we're like Kuwait, eastern coast of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Dubai. I think we're in that area.
Yeah, this whole
I think that's the stretch. I think so.
All right, so if we were to put it right there,
seems fine.
Kind of get this in the middle of this. Do you want to stick with the middle or do you want to go with an edge?
No, I like the middle.
All right, let's see it.
Oh my god, me? What the fuck?
Oh. Well, we still got a really good score, even with that being dragged. I never would have guessed that in a million years.
They're not fat. They don't even have stable governments.
Yeah, I don't know. We might have to look this up later and see.
What? No, fuck that. Fuck this bullshit. Where's our ref challenge? Like I want to throw the flag on this one, dude. No way.
On the plus side, though, our score is up here in like the top tier races for the day. Like this is actually pretty good. We had 4 perfect rounds, average score of 3,400.
But like
African Alpinoid, wild.
Dude. He's not selling me spices. Have you ever read The Alchemist? Like that guy is not. No, he's not the shopkeeper, or he's not the guy that like robs the kid of the gold. Like that's like no, he's not that.
Yeah, I would have never imagined this guy in any part of that book whatsoever.
No way. Dude, that's what I want a ref challenge. I know we don't get it, but the African Alpines. Yeah,
the
on
Atlas
coast.
Mountains and the island of Jerba, wherever that is. Libya, Egypt, and Morocco.
Dude, hold up. I saw the people sodomizing Gaddafi, and none of them looked like that. All right.
Agreed. Completely agreed. This is not what I would expect out there
So what
at all.
they're like, is this what the Carthaginians looked like? No wonder they fucking lost.
The Carthaginians were Phoenician. They would have looked like whatever these people look like whenever we finally get them.
Right. What?
Yeah, this is, I don't know. I don't know about any of this. But still, top 19% of today's players. We're improving.
That's not
We're
bad.
definitely improving.
That's not bad.
Let's see. I might even take a little screenshot of this for the boys.
Our powers are growing.
You'll love to see it. All right. Well, should we wrap up the podcast? Take them
That's
out.
fair. For sure. I think that's a good. And thank you very much for
about
listening to Against the Mob podcast. We appreciate you if you stuck along this far. I hope that you have gained in your true knowledge of people and how they look. Because remember, like racism, it's not about how you look. It lives here. Like racism lives in the heart. Lives right here. And as we played this game, it probably helps you, get a little bit more racist. And at least that's my goal for the night. Like if somebody can walk away just a little bit more extreme, a little bit more fascist, a little bit more racist. If somebody walks away from that with just a little bit more hate in their heart.
These are all really important things that you need to learn if you want to survive in a Gen Z world. One day they're going to take over. You don't want to be sitting there like a boomer, left behind, wondering where all the good times went.
Dude,
asking why the moderates won't just stop at jailing 12-year-olds. You got to become a top-tier racist.
It's a real thing. I know I'm one of you guys. I know I just have like a business and I own my own home, but I'm one of you. I promise. It's like face the wall, millennial.
I love it. The catchphrase for the podcast is especially fitting today, isn't it?
All right. We'll see you guys next time we hop on. Thanks for listening. See you next
Are you
time.
going to say the catchphrase?
Oh, wait. We fight against the mob with people over politics? Or that one? It's like, oh, do we though?
Unless it's a Gen Z mob, in which case.
Then you're the bourgeoisie and nothing will save you.
Absolutely. We're going to be the bad guys.
Madame la guillotine is thirsty. All right. We'll see you next time.
I love